Because that's when I last got it measured, it was 6'9", but that was months ago, so it could be longer now.
Wow.
Could be approaching 7 feet. Yeah.
I get really jealous of calling.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Sanders in trouble.
Ball is loose. It's picked up by the Bears. It's Terrell Bernard. It's touchdown.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Play fake into the corner on the fade. Intercepted by Kalen Barnes. Down the sidelines. He's going to step out.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
There's a pass over the middle in the seams. It's Fleets. He's fleet of foot. And no one will get him. Touchdown, Baylor.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Playing at the goal line. Brewer keeps it again. Touchdown, Baylor.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All sorts of different moving parts as we start SicEm365 Radio. A couple of new bodies back in the building. Not new, but old. Craig Smoke is back after a little break. And Dylan Chapman is back as well. Paul Catalina, David Smoke in studio. Now, we were hoping to open up the show today with Connolly football coach Shane Anderson. We will do their games this year because the UIL today announced that 4A and down below all the way to 1A would be able to start working out for football and other sports, but football would begin that first Monday in August, and they would start the season that first or last weekend in August. However, in something that just came down, the medical authority from McLennan County Public School District or Health District saying that no in-person instruction until after September the 7th. And on top of that, the order also says school-sponsored events and activities, including but not limited to clubs, sports, fairs, exhibitions, academic and or athletic competitions, cannot resume until after September 7th. That just popped. So waiting to get some clarification, but if that is the case, then even though some other 4A schools around the state of Texas and down will be able to start the first Monday in August, schools inside McLennan County, which would include many schools, 4A down to 1A, would possibly be placed on hold. Get the quick update. The UIL today said anybody 4A and below can start working out the first Monday in August, get ready, have their pads and then scrimmages, and play games starting at the end of the month in August. And 5As and 6As were not able to actually get moving until September 7th with their all across the state. And games would not start to the last weekend in September, and they would actually end the season, semifinals and championship, in January, if you made it that far. And now this right here may have thrown a big curveball, and this could become a mess.
Well, I think that what you have to worry about is, okay, so the UIL said something, but the UIL only has jurisdiction over, here's the overall guidelines that you guys can fit into by what we say, but they don't have any jurisdiction over any county or city officials. So each county and city has to react to their own situation. I saw Greg Tipper and Matt Stepp both tweeting about this today, saying that the issue will be, even in 5 and 6A, that are starting later anyway, you know, if your county is still much worse off than another one, you may decide not to start, and then that's going to keep pushing the ball down the road.
I noticed that today the county decided to fire their public health director. The public health district director for Waco McLennan was relieved of her duties today. So A lot of moving parts, man. A lot of shuffling going on, and so there's decisions being made, and yet people who were making decisions are now on their way out. And, I'm trying to, after a couple of days of just getting kind of a mental break from everything, wrap my head around all of the influx of information. So, it's a lot to sort through. It's a lot to figure out. And if you're a Shane Anderson who, 30 minutes ago was doing an interview with you guys, happy, things are, balls getting rolling again, and 30 minutes later he's got this next thing that comes, and it's like, okay, well, now where are we? And it's just it's a lot to, like I said, sort through, and just one big giant mess.
We will have Baylor football coach Dave Aranda, no matter what is clarity or not. He'll join us today at 3:15. Looking forward to him. He was a part of the Texas High School Football or High School Coaches Association and their virtual convention that started, Sunday, actually. He also was a part of that, and as was Larry Fedora, Jerome Tang, among some others, but he'll join us, Dave Aranda, today at 3:15. Lee Shea Maston, he's a police officer for Dallas College. He was a part of the Dallas Police Department. He's been at Ennis and a few others. Former Baylor linebacker, played in the NFL a little bit. He'll join us today at 4. We'll have Jeff Hume of Midway at 4:45 on how that affects them. And we might, of course, get an update from Shane Anderson sometime during that same time after his regional meeting he's a part of. And then also today, David Hellman and John McClain, all a part of the show. We are locked and loaded and ready to go here on SicEm365 Radio.
Well, and Shane Anderson mentioned a text to us that he got, like, literally right after the thing was over. So then we were like, okay, well, but if that was just about school not being in person, at least at that time.
Yeah, so I'm sure he's still gathering information and trying to get some clarity as well. But the basic gist of it prior to that announcement, guys, was just that 5 and 6A would be starting later, correct? I mean, all things being equal, despite what McLennan County is now deciding to say, the basic gist of his interview was that with his club being a 4A, they were going to be able to get going, whereas a Midway, Jeff Hume will talk to us about having a little bit more of a delay, but now potentially Connolly's in the same boat, right? Is that what I'm gathering from this?
That's kind of what it is.
Well, and I just saw it. I retweeted it, but Chuck Caniford tweeted out that now Clifton needs a week 1 and 2 opponent because McLennan County has put that down.
Yeah.
So, because they're, Bosque County, I guess they would be, right, Dylan? I think Bosque County. I think Clifton's a Bosque County. So that's a different thing. And look, Bosque County could change in a week, in a day. They could change too. I mean, so.
Yeah, well, we knew there was going to be some hurdles and possible moving parts, but this is interesting. On the day the UIL says that you guys can go about your business 4A and below, McLennan County issued, this is Dr. Farley Werner. Schools can't start in-person instruction until after September 7th. I believe these control measures are necessary to protect the public health based on the higher risk for the spread of COVID in schools due to the necessity of large groups gathering, difficulty, In conjunction with other measures already in place, the control measures contained in this order will further restrict and prevent the spread of COVID-19. Waco ISD, of course, announced earlier it would be delaying their students until after Labor Day. The order also says that the school-sponsored events, and that includes, but not limited to club sports fairs, exhibitions, academic and athletic competitions, cannot resume until after September 7th. That means working out, I would think, period. But see, this now, not only so let's say that they would have said 6A and 5A's go ahead. Today, Waco High University and Midway would be a part of this too.
Yeah.
But they were already a part of it, not until September, the 7th, until they could start anyway. This is interesting, and schools and schedules, coaches are throwing out, hey, I need game 1, this or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of coaches out there I've seen today looking for games, and imagine, I would think at least that some have probably picked one up, and then in the last 30 minutes now gone, wait, we had Connolly now, and then now all of a sudden this is off the table. So, yeah, a lot of scrambling to get those schedules fixed.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, all right, coming up next, that's what's going on with the UIL, and now McLennan County kind of throws down the hammer. Dave Aranda, Baylor football coach, next on SicEm365 Radio. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where you can get big, bulky, heavy metal and steel and whatever else you need if you're kind of putting together a metal building. Not just the product, but the experience, the expertise from the great folks at Pioneer Steel and Pipe. 77 years in business. And they deliver this heavy product, and they unload it as well to make sure you don't have to deal with that extra burden. We're talking about culverts. We're talking about fences and gateways and entryways and big buildings and metal and steel, and they have a ton of it. And 77 years of trust. 77 years of incredible product as it's changed over the years. And Pioneer Steel and Pipe is always ahead of the curve in both Waco and Bryan. They're open on Saturdays if you can't get to them during the week between 8 and noon. PioneerBoys.com. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Waco and Bryan. PioneerBoys.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
So it's time for us to have a talk because obviously your buddies aren't telling you and neither is your woman. You've been driving that truck around exposing your stuff. It's not only embarrassing, it's disgusting. I'm talking about full frontal truck nudity and it's time for you to do something about it with a grill guard or a front-end replacement bumper from Pickup Outfitters. There are lots of good reasons to get a grill guard, like when Bambi decides to cross the road at the same time you're occupying it. But the best reason is that no one wants to see your junk up in your grill. Pickup Outfitters on Lake Erie Drive carries all the major brands of grill guards, including Ranch Hand, Cattleman, and even the Renegade brand made right here in Waco. And every grill guard we sell comes with our lifetime installation guarantee and no-worry warranty program. Won't you help us end truck nudity? Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Erie Drive in Waco. Check out our grill guards on our website at createacommotion.com/guards. createacommotion.com/guards.
Summertime means vacation time, and while this summer may be different, at Allen Samuels, you can always count on our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Brand spanking new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. Now 0% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $10,250 in total values. America's most loyal half-ton pickup owners are Ram owners. It's time to say goodbye. Adios 2020s from Allen Samuels. Ask for details.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
This is SicEm365 Radio. This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Well, been an up and down day of emotions if you're a football coach in McLennan County. If you had the good news earlier today, the UIL saying that you could, for a below start in August and start working out towards the opening weekend of the season around August 27th. That's pretty good. Imagine how many guys, Paul and Craig, how many calls, texts, emails, meetings, planning, try to find new games because you realized if you're a 4A and you're playing a 5A or whatever, and you get all that and you feel pretty good about it, and then just 3 or 4 hours later, 5 hours later, 6 hours later, whatever it's been, the county then steps all over you. And I'm not saying that they're not making the right decision. You know how I feel about this, but they have a job to do. But golly, it would have been better if they would have said it first.
It's hard enough to do when you have months in advance. You know, how many coaches have to deal with this for, maybe 6, 8, 10 weeks while they're trying to figure out after realignment. Sometimes they can't find a week 3 opponent. Cameron, a couple years ago, got completely kind of thrown out in the wash because of how their district shook out, and they had to have a weird bye week. And, just because they couldn't find anybody, nobody likes to pick up the phone and say, hey, do you want us to come here and kick your ass? They don't want that.
Here's Irvin Chandler, the head coach at Blooming Grove. It's just an example right now. Looking for a game. This is 6 minutes ago. Looking for a game 3, September 11th. Help us. If your county's not allowing sports until Labor Day, week 5 would be the earliest you can play, which is what the 5As and 6As we're going to have to deal with. So we'll have more on that. We'll have Jeff Hume. Also, Shane Anderson will join us. Shane's going to be in a regional coaches meeting and be a part of the show, and Jeff will explain his part of it as well. We're now joined by Baylor head football coach Dave Aranda with Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and David Smoke, SicEm365 Radio. Coach, how did you feel? Because I've heard great feedback yesterday on your instruction and your virtual meeting within the Texas High School Football Coaches Association. Some coaches blowing up phones saying, man, when he gets in front of that board or that video or those X's and O's, he just beams. How did you think it went?
Oh, it was fun to do. I appreciate you guys having me on today, but to have the opportunity to get in front of the Texas high school coaches, there's so much respect for them, and just have been in other states and have dealt with whether it's football or it's recruiting in other states, and just to when you're in Texas and you visit a school and they want to talk ball and you end up taking notes and you're learning from them, and when you're recruiting an athlete and there's a straight line recruiting element where we're keeping kind of side parties out of it, and it's the coaches and it's the parents and the college coaches that are in it. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. So to be in front of them and share a little bit was fun. The thing about clinics a lot of times is that you can have a give and take. So there, was a little bit different not having that, but hopefully here coming up we can get back to how it used to be in that respect.
Coach, I got to watch a little bit of you and a little bit of Coach Fedora yesterday on the clinic, and I just got to tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Watching a coaching thing, from a broadcaster's perspective, academically, and watching you guys really kind of get into what you do, a bit kind of even beyond an X and O level of mentally. You and Coach Fedora seem pretty similar in the fact that you both like to kind of break down percentages and numbers. Is that kind of what attracts kind of a coaching staff together, is when you get around and say, okay, we all kind of see this in a similar fashion, at least in the way that we prepare?
Yeah, I think, the people that are, Larry's been successful at all the stops he's been. And so he does that, he uses his people. He can recognize angles and leverage, and he maximizes that. He can maximize matchups and personnel. And then I think, Larry does a great job of just understanding the other side. I think, his knowledge of defense is very strong, and he's able to recognize formations and how people line up the formations, and be able to get mismatches and get advantages for our side and then take advantage of them, and so to just share with him throughout this time, I've learned a lot, and excited. I was able to catch later on some of his talk, and it's been like everything else he's done, and so impressed.
Coach, from your perspective, what is right now like? I mean, we see the testing numbers that come out. We see some of the pictures on social media of the guys back on the field. But what's sort of going on right now as far as what you're able to do with the players and all that, and where Baylor football is in the process, so to speak?
Yeah, this time right now would be normal summer. And so if there was such thing as a normal summer, we're in that mode right now for 2 weeks, and this is the second of the 2 weeks. So starting on Saturday for us, we start our OTAs, which will end up having 11 of those. And so as regards to this week, it would be 2 hours of football, video review. And then it would be 8 hours of strength and conditioning work. And so, they're in there a lot with Corey Campbell and our team. I think our conditioning has improved dramatically as we've gone on here, and the strength gains are strong. And I think guys are getting excited about the gains that they've made, and our ability to be on the field for them. Just last week was the first time, I think, on the practice field that we were on the field with the team, and it was an exciting time. And we've got another one of those here today, where we can take them through 30 minutes of individual and be able to spend some time with them, get to know kind of how guys move and how they learn, and they get to know us. And then we had earlier this morning some installs and some review off of some old game tape. So that part has been really good. I'm really looking forward to Saturday, and that will provide us an hour of install or team meeting, followed by an hour walkthrough, and that'll be individual, that'll be group work, that'll be team. So there'll be blitz in there, there'll be team. First couple of days will be first and second down, then we start getting third down after about day 3. Day 4, I think, is third and long, again into red zone, short yardage, all of it. And so it's coming. We're all excited for it.
Yeah, is that kind of what you've been waiting for? It is. I know you want to still get into what is the normal routine, whatever that might ever be again, but this is where you get your hands so-called in the players. I know it's field turf, or sometimes it's grass and dirt. Isn't that really what you've been waiting for?
Yeah, I think you really get a feel of your team and just how they respond when adversity comes. Let's say there's you're in some form of a competitive drill. Eventually, a lot of those type situations are going to come once fall camp comes. These OTAs are really opportunities for us to kind of pave the road, so to speak, to get us so that when we do get to fall camp, it's not as rocky. It's cleared out, and we can hit top speed maybe a little bit faster than if it wasn't for these OTAs. And so, just talking with Matt Powledge about this earlier about special teams, I think we'll have 5 opportunities for special teams, and kind of setting. And this is the first time Matt's been on the field with special teams, and so his ability to kind of this is how this drill works. This is how it's set up. Here's the coaches I've got helping coach. This is our stations. This is how we do it. And all of that combined in the OTAs with the social distancing that's got to occur, and rightfully so. And so that is kind of a learning stage for all of us, and we're looking forward to attacking it. And when we do get to fall camp, we'll be able to really start some competitive stuff and really hit another level. But to get on the field with 11 on 11 is what we've been waiting for. So excited for it.
With all the recruiting things that have changed, a lot of times during the summer, you guys would be doing a lot of that in-person recruiting, which you haven't been able to do, and that keeps kind of getting pushed back, and you're going to have to adapt with that as well. But how has that changed how you guys have focused on getting ready for anything that might come your way, scheduling-wise, for just the team you have on campus this season?
You're talking about just in terms of recruiting and how
and just the time that you would normally spend doing that. Now you have, how do you kind of repurpose that?
I gotcha. Yeah. So it can be a good thing. It could also be it can be a bad thing too. I think I was down in a coach's office and they were looking at 2014 NFL film. That kind of tells you when that happened. We're digging deep in the crates, and so I think the ability to, as coaches, right, when just the more you're kind of, you're separated, your mind starts going, right. You recognize, problems, I think you want to be able to address those problems. You want to have the pen last. And I think, all of our guys are all on the same page with it's a player's game. The players play the game. players win games, and we've got really good players. And so getting them in the best shape we can, getting it to where everybody is safe and everybody's working by the guidelines and practicing social distancing, wearing masks, doing all the right things. And so that when a Saturday in fall comes and we can get everybody that we can, on the trip, on the sidelines, available to play. I think, college football, the way, where it stands now, you're looking at offense, defense, special teams, and contact tracing. Those are the major components of who's going to win or lose that game. And so to be able to do things right day in and day out, so proud of our guys and our health and wellness team, our assistant coaches and the messaging they've had. I think we're doing the right things, but to focus in on the players and to build up their repertoire and their tools is really where the time's got to be spent, because it's going to be a player's game, especially early on. There's not a lot of guys that have had double teams where they had to root out a 3 technique on a 3rd and 1 to get a conversion to keep the chains moving. There's not a lot of people that have played a true half and have had to flip and zone turn, make a play in the other quarter of the field. And those are all things that we've got to really spend time on, to hone in on, get our players to play the best of their ability.
Given the lack of face-to-face contact at this point, you've had some, but not nearly what you would like to have had. Have you still been able to identify guys leading or stepping up to become leaders, or your seniors, even though there's not a ton of those guys, embracing that role now that it's quote-unquote their time?
You feel that, yeah. I think, as from the time that we've been on the field with them and and then in talking with some of our players about just like their wishes for what this camp's going to look like, for what this team's going to look like, and just how much you could sense how much it means to them and how much they're putting into it. You could see guys emerge. I'm really looking forward to here Saturday, because having 11 guys out and having the ability to have 11 on 11 and to be able to see who's communicating, who's stepping up, who's taking charge. I mean, that's when I think there's really going to be some true separation. But whether up front on D line, where it's Chitty, and linebacker wise, you talking about Terrell has continued to do a great job leading. You got JT in the back end. You got Petrie in the back end. Really strong leaders have done a great job. RJ Sneed on offense. J-Mo on the offensive line has been a vocal leader for us. Charlie, of course, really impressed with him and his growth that way. I think off season he's really focused in on finding his voice. And, he's a different guy, I know, when he's on the grass, but, off the field, I feel like he's really grown. And so, to get everyone together and see how all that meshes, I'm proud of all the work that's gone into it, because it's been something else. You're talking about Kenny Boyd and what he's had to go through, and Mack and the battles he's fought, and, just keeping everybody safe and doing the right things. I'm blessed to be here and be a part of it.
Coach Aranda with us on SicEm365 Radio. We had Gary Anderson, who is Utah State. You know him. You've been with him on a couple of different occasions, and he discussed how someone can sit in a room when you're in front of whatever it is, looking at film or breaking down film, and it kind of reminds them of back when they were in college and they had a professor that they enjoyed, of a topic or a subject that they enjoyed. When did that come so natural to you?
I don't know. There's I don't know. I think when I was in college, I was just on a Big 12 call, and I was on there with Tom Herman, and he was bringing up the Kalu days, and so he was around that time. I would be driving up and down the state. In California, I'd go to, I think I would travel to Arizona State, to, Washington, Oregon in my car and visit with coaches and take notes and learn and all of it. And I think just the ability to like always learn and always grow as that's been there. And so I think when you're kind of looking inward to find answers and find solutions, and there's got to be a deeper meaning here. There needs to be a better solution here, or there has to be a better way here. When that's always kind of the mindset, and then understanding how that people learn differently, and so finding ways that all of this can be communicated in a much easier way as well. And here's the way to do it, and spending time on all those things, I think all of it can pay off. And so it's from a very early age, I guess that was the case. But I know there was a time though where I remember I would watch action movies, and I'd want to be that action character. Never really kind of set out to be a professor, but I guess it ended up happening that way.
Well, so. Hey, look, the coolest ones like Tony Stark are both, right, Coach?
Yeah.
I mean, he's both. I mean, he can invent, and he's also the superhero. So you can just start calling yourself the Tony Stark of coaches.
That's it.
How important was it for you to finally be able to see your family here in Waco when they finally arrived after such a long delay? I know what that means to you. What was that like, and has that actually helped maybe even make you feel better about everything that they're here?
Oh, I have. Yeah, no, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, just sleeping. I thought just like having I don't know. There's a time where so it's been a while we've been apart. So just having them here, just getting a good night's sleep and knowing that they're with you and saying good night to them and the whole and so this evening, right, I'll get home and be able to spend some time with each of them, and they're transitioning from all their friends that they had. So we're 4 years there in Louisiana, and so they're meeting new people in the neighborhood and everything, and they're always excited to talk about their day. But it when you're in a house there ain't no one in there, it's a weird deal. So if the home comes when your family arrives.
Yeah, I bet that quiet was only good for about a day, wasn't it?
It is a weird deal. It's not, the hotel is almost better because it's kind of understood that that's where you're at, and you got a bed right in front of a TV, and you can watch Sports Center and kind of deal with it. But when you're in a big old house, it's too quiet, and it's just doesn't seem. A house is built for people and families, and I got there's probably a TikTok going on right now, at the Aranda house. So we're back to normal.
Zoom, TikTok, all these things now that are a part of everything. Craig?
Coach, I saw where you added, Joshua Atkinson as a member of your staff. He's a young up-and-coming coach, and there's just the various, GAs and all those guys, and we've known about your main staff for a while now. But when you're looking at a young coach and deciding on whether or not to bring them into the program, have them around, what are some of the traits you're looking for?
They put players first. They pour into the players, that they know. They spend time to know their players and look to find ways to serve their players. And heard so many positive things about Josh, and then the work ethic that he has, the character that he has, and so he seemed like it would be just a great fit here. And so far, so good. And we're really impressed with him, and the mentality that he brings. I think he's a worker. He's got a budding family here, so excited to have him. And on top of it being just a really good coach, but I think, when I look at Baylor, I look at character, and I look at how character drives winning. And I look at up and down, whatever sports program you want to name, character drives winning here. And so when we're hiring coaches, we want really, really strong character, and really excited about Josh. He fits that bill.
I've been told this by one of your assistants said this to me, that and a couple of others as well. Baylor's mission, and no one is perfect, but Baylor and what they stand for. Is there another college you could imagine that probably their mission statement is Dave Aranda's mission statement?
No, I can't think of one. When I first talked with Mack Rhoades on that introductory call, you could feel it. And so I know getting off that call, and I think we were getting ready for the Oklahoma game, and going back into the kitchen, talking to Dion, my wife, about, hey, this call was really good. There may be something right there. It just felt like it was a match, And then the other piece I bring up was when we were already here, and I think, I may have already mentioned this to you guys, but when Baylor was playing Kansas in basketball, and a lot of our student body were hanging out in the arena for the next morning game day, and being there with some of the ESPN guys. I think we were handing out donuts, so I can't remember what it was, but just meeting student body, they just remind me of my kids. They remind me of my daughters. They remind me of my son. And so that was a big deal to me, because it's like, I already know, I don't know you, but I already know you. Mm-hmm. And so it's good to be where you feel you belong.
Do you have the ability to clear Michael Caputo as a guest on our show? Because I've been told he can impersonate you.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I don't know. I know that's a Utah State thing. They were calling me. They would call me at LSU, and they go, Dave, what have you done to Mike? Because he talks just like you. And I go, I didn't do anything to the young man, but apparently, I know he's going to whisper in your ear if we get him on the phone with you. So I apologize in advance.
Yeah, I was given a little nugget on that, and of course, what a player he was for you at Wisconsin as well, and he's a part of your staff now, right?
Yeah, Mike's great. Mike's, the whole way through with Mike, just the mentality of a fighter, the just really, really smart, strong character, great work ethic. I mean, you want to ride and die with Mike Caputo, and so you can depend on him, and he's gonna connect with people. He's going to treat people right, and so we're blessed to have him.
Dave Aranda with us on SicEm365 Radio, about to go back on the field himself here pretty soon with us for a couple more questions. Paul?
What's it like this time at the beginning of your tenure at a school, where you can start to see guys maybe come out of their shell, get a little more comfortable with you guys, and even guys who have leadership potential but might have been in the background before start to realize that it's their time? That's got to be exciting as a coach.
No, it is. And I think, what's added to that is just everything that so far, this year has brought, whether it's COVID-19 and quarantine, and the ability to get to know your people through that, through the social unrest, and the ability to talk to your players about that. This morning we talked about John Lewis, and we talked about his legacy, and I have so much respect for him, and we showed a video of him that he did of CNN, and talked about the sit-ins in Nashville, the counter sit-ins, and so I think when you talk to your team about these types of things, and you're investing time with them, getting to know them as people, and then to get to know the player after that, I think it makes it even more special.
Dave Aranda with us on SicEm365 Radio. There was yesterday news that one of your players is now able to join the team again in Logan Compton, who has been through quite the journey, and also the things that happen in life. Have you had a chance to visit with him about welcoming him back on the team, and what he will mean to get back into Waco when that happens?
I did. I talked to him yesterday. I've talked with him in the past and his family, and I'm happy for him. you look back at Logan's situation and just, just a horrible accident. So sorry for the other family, and you feel for that. Even in a time like this, my heart goes to them. And at the same time, I'm happy for Logan. I'm happy that he gets an opportunity. I know that we're looking forward to welcoming him on our team and getting him around our guys. And everything I've heard about Logan from whether it's Sean or Joey or David have been just very, very positive. And so excited to be able to get to know him.
Dave, last thing. Paul brought up the recruiting, and it's obviously been you guys have had a really nice run despite all of this. Is this because of the success you've had as a defensive coordinator and also what happened with LSU? Is this because of the fact that your staff is so diverse in many different ways? And also, how much of it is what you can be, even in a Zoom-type setting or FaceTime, real with the young men or the families that they live with?
Well, I think it's our staff. I think, first of all, I think it's Baylor. And I think it's, it's Matt Rule. I think it's what he's really, he's poured into. I think there's a legacy there. I think it's Joey McGuire, Sean Bell, Wetzel, and what they poured into Baylor. I think people see that. And I think it's, the overall staff, just their ability, we talked about earlier, they're high character people, and they treat people right, and they recognize and see the good in people, and they're really attracted to drawing the good out. And so I think anytime that you're in a spot where there's not a lot going on, and you can sit down and have a conversation with someone that generally cares about you and generally wants to help you, advantage Baylor, and it's been that way here throughout, and I think we will continue to show that.
Phil Bennett said he took Eddie Lackey from you when you were in Hawaii.
Yes, yeah, we had him. We had Eddie. Yeah, that might be my biggest one that got away right there. Well, I don't halfway blame Eddie, but yeah, he would have made some plays for the Rainbow Warriors too, though.
He had some great things to say about what you do. Dave, thank you very much. I know you're about to go into a workout. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate it, and it's great that your family's now with you, and good luck, and we'll see you very soon, we hope.
Thank you.
Dave
see you guys.
Aranda. Yes, sir. Dave Aranda, head football coach at Baylor, with us on SicEm365 Radio. We were going to have a segment with a coach here at 3:45, but again, the UIL decisions, but then the McLennan County school decisions on schools and workouts, et cetera, has kind of changed some things up, but not for some. The ones outside McLennan County, they're fine. The 4A's in down below.
And then I just saw where, you retweeted, what was it, Longview John Tyler is still, or well,
Longview
whatever.
Temple.
Or Temple, okay, excuse me. Longview Temple is still going to go on, but Temple's not in McLennan, so that makes sense. But how's one right next to the other and not going to be affected in some way? So, yeah, it's still, what it was a few minutes ago when we were talking about it, a giant mess that they're going to have to sort through.
Matt Stepp, there are 254 different counties in Texas.
Yes. And they're all going to make they're all going to make decisions at different times.
Mm-hmm.
That most of them
That's best what they think is best for their county, not so much who Mart might be playing or who Temple might be playing. And I'm talking about McLennan. Temple's outside of that. But
you also have to, they might all make similar decisions, but on a different timetable, which is what I think is really going to throw this in, which is, and it's hard. Look, when you're the UIL, there's no other body like in the rest of high school athletics anywhere that has the scope that they have. So it's really hard to make decisions because it's not like you have a commissioner at each classification either. There's no 2A guy and 3A person that, okay, I'm going to, we'll run the things on the 2A. You just kind of make the decision and you move on, so on and so forth. But, yeah, this is going to be really confusing for a while, I think.
There are players, teams, coaches, everything across the board that are right now probably in as much disarray as when things were shut down in March. And maybe even more so because for a lot of teams today, the 4A down below, there was this massive rainbow of hope. The responses that I got from coaches all across the state, and now some of them in McLennan County, they're scrambling. And here's one of the things, the difference between the 5As and 6As who were being pushed back to September 7th to start workouts, September 27th or whatever it was to start games, like Midway was going to open up at Odessa Permian.
Yeah.
Well, they still will, but it'll be the last weekend in September, barring some other changes. And the 5As and 6As are going to play at January, so they were still going to get their full 10-game season in.
Yeah.
This does not apply for 4As and 2As and 3As and 1As. If you don't play till September 27th now, you don't. The 4As and down below, their championship schedule is set.
You're going
to be what it's supposed to be, the playoffs in mid-November through the early to mid part of December. They're not pushing that back. You lose games.
At best, you might miss 4, right?
No.
3?
I think you're going to miss 5 games.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you had maybe an early bye week scheduled in there, so
August 27th and then 4 weekends. Yeah.
So if you had an early bye week, at best, you're only going to miss 4 games.
And if you're in an odd team district, that might be you're lucky. You might get a bye week.
Yeah.
You're talking about a mess.
Yeah.
And this is just right here in our backyard, McLennan County, like Cameron Yo High School. They're going to play. They're fine.
Well, I think it's great that the communication lines are so, wide open that the health department couldn't at least consult with the high schools as they were getting this great news this morning and then turning right around hours later only to be like, hey, surprise, that good news that you were celebrating, well, for you guys here in this county, not so much. So, the lines of communication are as twisted as ever. The questions are as big as ever. But I will say that going back to Dave Aranda, who just gave us a great deal of time there, with the time and so much uncertainty, it's good to have a steady hand at the top of your program.
Oh,
and I think if you're Baylor, you feel really great about the guy that's leading the way. If other programs don't feel so confident in that guy, maybe this is even a scarier time, but I think you feel good if you're the Bears.
By the way, Jacksonville, I agree with you. He was fantastic. Jacksonville head coach Wayne Coleman, who I've known for a while. Jacksonville looking for weeks 2, 3, and 4. And I had Daryl Allman from Nacogdoches. Hey, you got some schools in Waco now. They're going to be looking. We need a week 1. Well, what is week 1? It wasn't. And so it depends on what class you are, what county you're in. This is SicEm365 Radio.
It's employee pricing for everyone right now at Richard Carr. All month long, you pay what employees pay. Right now, qualified buyers can save over $7,000 on a 2020 Acadia or a 2020 Yukon. You can also save over $6,000 on a Terrain. Plus, they've got the Buick Encourse, the perfect crossover SUV. It's got a roomy interior, all the safety features, all the latest tech, and it's a quiet ride. Right now, you can get a Buick Encore for only $19,900. That's a savings of $6,000 big ones on a 2020 Buick Encore. You get great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, in-town priority warranty service every time you purchase a vehicle at Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, because they are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. Just want the chance to earn your business, so stop by their daily disinfected showroom, see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home, because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them at Richard Carr, that's KARR.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial Exit.
Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasonings, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace, doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5, 425 Lake Air Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and you know, I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right. Thanks to Dave Aranda. Appreciate his time. Mack Rhoades, Baylor Director of Athletics, today at 4:20. Leshay Maston, who's a police officer for Dallas College, been a part of the Dallas Police Department, played at Carter High School, part of that great Carter run, played at Baylor at linebacker. He'll join us at the 4 o'clock hour. This is amazing how my phone and my Twitter and my email is blowing up like it was the first day of UIL realignment. Now, the difference used to be realignment, you didn't know what classification you were in. And there wasn't even a 1A Division I or whatever. There was none of that there's been that for a while. But it is almost as if today everyone was placed in a district they didn't expect or a division they didn't expect. And even now you know that going in because of what they released like in November or December, you still have games you have to find. And that is what's happening across the state of Texas.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. Like I said before, it's not easy to do necessarily depending on who you are. When you have weeks and weeks, months, when it's February. When we get realignment is usually the first week in February, right? Yeah. So first week in February, and people have weeks and weeks. And sometimes, you know, I'll run into a coach who's like, yeah, we're trying to still find a week 4. You're like, my God, it's April 20th.
Week 1 for 5As and 6As, and now even for some schools. No, the 5As and 6As, not the other schools, because those schools just are going to miss games. The week 1 is September the 25th week. This is the last week in September. That's week 1. Instead of what would be August 27th or whatever it is.
Why are the bigger schools being allowed to have a full season with a delay while the smaller schools are not?
Because they wanted them to have a delay because those are the biggest areas, so the largest hotspots. And they want those games played. They want revenue. The UIL, don't think now, attendance, things like that, not just playoff games. The UIL makes some money here.
No, I absolutely know everything goes back to money. I mean, that's what everything goes back to, unfortunately, in this country. But, yeah, I think it's kind of strange that you're going to now tell 3A players in McLennan County that, hey, sorry for you, bud, you don't get a full season. You'll maybe get 5 regular season games, and then hopefully you make the playoffs for your own sake. So, maybe you do get into playing like 10 games when all is said and done if you go on a state championship run. But, yeah, for you guys, sorry. But, hey, 6As, you just wait and you still play your entire season?
Well, yeah, and I think maybe – because McLennan County is not going to be the last one to do this exact thing.
No.
They're not going to be the last one. So the UIL is probably going to have to go back to the drawing board.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I know everything can't be fair. Life's not fair. I understand that, but it just seems like this is far more favorable for the larger schools, who of course have the bigger issues being in bigger cities with numbers and all that. But I have a hard time telling Mart you can't have a full season, but hey, midway you get to play every game that you want to.
No, it's very much. There was actually a little bit of a scenario out there. I had a coach tell me this. 5As and 6As were delayed a month. They get to play their full season. Everyone else was going to be on schedule and get to play their full season. But were they actually the 4As and below, was there any possibility that, hey, you go play and let's see what happens with your guys, and if something shuts you down, we'll learn from it?
Yeah, I mean, that if Mart can't get through the season without any type of issues, or a Connolly or a Bosqueville or a whoever, if those smaller schools can't do it, then what makes me think that Temple and Killeen and Midway and all those schools are going to be, or Allen Lake, those schools are going to be able to do it. So I just... I know it can't be fair, like I said, but I'm just looking at where that's fair really for the smaller schools, and it seems to be a situation of, well, you're the trial test basically, and you don't make as much money for us, so your kids are going to suffer possibly as a result.
Do you think so? McLennan County does this because what? Midway, University High, and Waco High, those are the only three schools affected, correct? In McLennan County went 5As and 6As.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones affected.
I mean, they're doing it because they're reacting to their own numbers.
This is not thinking of Midway football.
Like they've never I don't think that football or anything came into this. I think this is just about groups of people in a one concentrated area.
This is almost like McLennan County went hold my beer.
Well, yeah, no. If it did have something to do with football, then it makes this being such a surprise make even less sense. I mean, again, we were talking last week about college sports and how the conferences, when they did come out, the Pac-12 followed the leader, and in the Big Ten, the ACC even chiming in. It was like this domino effect. But here I just think that. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. It's definitely a mess.
I think that and again, the county or a commissioner's court or a city or a government, you can't make decisions so you make people, you want to be, I would think you would have liked to, hey, by the way, the UIL has come out with this. I wonder how much kind of communications there was. Why today when the UIL comes out with it, do they come out with something that basically cuts your knees off?
Yeah, I didn't really probably explain well enough, but like the Big Ten, when they came out, Mack Rhoades was saying like, hey, like you can't tell us like what your plans are because it kind of affects us too, this, the fellow Power Fives, but there was no communication, which led us to talking about the need for a higher authority power, a czar, if you will, of college football, a main commissioner. But, yeah, clearly the communication doesn't really occur at this level either, because you would think if football was in mind, then those conversations would be had with football officials, but clearly they were not, based on the amount of people who are now having to redo everything they thought was in place about 3 hours ago.
Yeah, Charlie Roten, head coach, been on the show, Rogers. Possibly need a Week 4 opponent. We are scheduled to play a team in McLennan County. And now you got to juggle officiating. And how about this? Eventually, stadiums in need when the playoffs begin. If 4As, and now you have this convergence of early games, where before you had early games and a lot more. All right, coming up next, Leshay Maston from the Dallas College Police Department, former Carter Cowboy and Baylor Bear. Mack Rhoades at 420. This is SicEm365 Radio. Pickup Outfitters, where you can just decorate. You can spice up. You can make your truck into something better than it's ever been before, even if it's pretty darn good. Bumpers and grill guards, bed covers and bed liners, bump steps, and even what you need to put on when it comes to a hitch to tow something not so heavy or something, a big old boat or trailer. That's what they do, Jay Arrett and company at Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco, and also online, createacommotion.com. It's Pickup Outfitters, so it's not just pickup trucks with, well, the pickup bed covers and liners, sure, but you could also do something for your SUV and for maybe even a minivan. They have what you need if there's something that's missing, something that needs to maybe make your truck or your car or your minivan or SUV bigger, better, faster in a way, right? They can do that too. It's Pickup Outfitters. Jay Arrett, what a job they've done. 20 years in business in Waco and Central Texas. Pickup Outfitters, and also the installations. If they install the installation with a lifetime warranty, and they'll also help you with other assistance of warranties as well. Pickup Outfitters at 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day, payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozers Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
There's a pass over the middle in the seams. It's Fleets. He's fleet of foot, and no one will get him. Touchdown, Baylor.
segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Lishay Maston was at that, I believe, Under Armour event with the talent evaluation in camp. Our Grayson Grunhafer and Brian Etheridge were there as well. Brian bumped into Lishay Maston, and he said, "Hey, yeah, give me a call. I want to be a part of the show if you're interested." And of course we are. With one of the legacy, one of the great names in Baylor football, joins us on SicEm365 Radio with Paul Catalina, David Smoke, and Craig Smoke as well. Well, so what's it like? Well, I know you have other sons that are older that have been through maybe this process. What's it like kind of reflecting back to these camps that are going on and watching your son try to impress other people?
Well, this first of all, let me just say thank you for having me on. This process is a little bit different because this is a baby boy. This is the last one.
Uh-oh.
And, yeah, I know. And he is a compilation of everything that was in front of him. And this time, I got a little more time, get more hands-on with his training and to spend more time. You know, he's a son of my old age, and so I am spending a lot more time in his development and doing things with my other boys. I was just working so hard and doing so much, and I was there to support him and do some stuff, but I wasn't as hands-on as I am with this one right here.
So how many things do you learn? Like, he gets the benefit, though, of you know, for lack of a better term, trying it, you know, of learning, you know, from your mistakes, I guess.
I'm always right. Hold on now. I'm always right. Hold up now. I'm always right now.
Yeah.
You know, even when I'm wrong, I'm always right.
So you're just more right when you were less right before. That's what I'm going to say. You're less right the first time.
Exactly.
You're more right now. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot better right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, you don't have children.
Yeah,
at
no,
least
I
you
don't.
haven't claimed any of them, and so you don't understand.
No one's dumb enough to have kids
Dad's
with me.
always right. Dad's always right, no matter what.
Does the younger child always have a better advantage because they've seen all the other ones and what they've been through, the mistakes they've made, or what mom or dad or others have said? Wait a minute, is that the case?
It's more like he gets the good and the bad from him. You know, like he gets a little bit more social and a little bit of some of the bad habits too. And so, you know, you have to just kind of guide through that and, you know, just encourage him to be his own person.
Lishay Maston is with us, Baylor. He played in the NFL, also a part of that famous Dallas Carter team that won it all in 1988. It was Jesse Armstead. It was you.
No. Hold on. It was Lishay Maston, Jesse Armstead. Come on now.
Okay, let me start over again. One of the greatest football teams of all time was led by Lishay Maston, and along with him, there was a couple of other spares named Jesse Armstead and Clifton Abraham. Yeah, there we go. Oh, my God.
No, that was a great team full of great players. And, you know, just having a bunch of alpha males coming together as a team. And we were good. We probably wasn't as good as we would have been until we went through that turmoil of being kicked out of the playoffs, because that just galvanized us even more. And so where Carter has always had great teams, and if I always went deep into the playoffs or 2 or 3 games of the playoffs, you know, that probably would have been us, but we had something to bring us together to where we put our backs to each other and we didn't flinch. We didn't blink, and we stayed the course.
Now, let's look at your career as a police officer and in today's current climate. And I've seen pictures of what you've done in various communities. You've been on the Ennis campus as an NSISD police officer. You're now at Dallas County. I saw you with something you were doing at Cedar Hill. That's your backyard right there in the South Dallas area. Yeah. How much has your reputation as an athlete and what you meant to that community. But also now as a police officer, how much has that allowed you to maybe communicate with those who didn't want to listen to a police officer?
Well, that I praise God for that, because for me, me being somewhat okay in football and making it to the highest level gets me in the door where most people can't get into.
Mm-hmm.
It'll get people's attention, and then I'm able to say things to affect the things that they're doing. At-risk youth or somebody that just needed some encouragement. I'm able to talk to them, and I thank God for just giving me that, so that I can use that to get into the door, so that I can preach the word to them of, whatever they need to try to, uplift them, keep them going, encourage them, help somebody.
Lee Shea, when you were younger, growing up in South Dallas, did you have the fear that you hear about today, that when someone pulled up behind you, if they ever did, or if you were in a neighborhood, did you ever have that?
I just got through telling somebody last week, doing a formal meeting, that it was up until maybe 5 years on to the police, or maybe 7 years on to the police, to where I was driving my car, and I would drive my personal car, and when a police officer would get behind me, I would have those butterflies in my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
I would, feel a certain way. And I had been a police officer for 5 or 7 years, and I'm like, I don't want anybody ever to feel that way, because it was like Pavlov's dog. It just automatically happened, because it happened so much growing up that it just automatically happened. And, I was trained to, become heightened in my awareness when that police officer gets behind me, not, and I may have just bought my tags, but I'm looking at my tag to make sure it's there.
Right.
I'm saying, is my insurance in my glove box? Do I have my wallet?
Yep.
What about that 40 ounce from last night? Did I put it up? I mean, like everything is going through your head. Who did I have in the car last night? I mean, everything is just going through your head.
Yep.
And so that feeling, is kind of what this social change is about. That's part of it, because no one should ever have that feeling. And me being a police officer, I want to change that. I want to change the way that you interact. If you are a police officer and you don't come into the building, with a sign saying, "Who can you help?" And then when you walk out of the building, you see the sign saying, "Who have I helped today?" Because that should be the mark of your success. That should be the attitude that you go into it with. Not how many tickets I can write, how many people I can put in jail. The law is the law, and well, guess what? The law is the law. But in the process, can you help somebody?
Is part of that also, though, the governments of individual municipalities taking some stuff off your plate so that you can really do what you're supposed to do and not? I mean, I heard the old police chief of Dallas County saying all of a sudden we've got to go catch dogs and things like that. And that's just more stress you put on a police officer to do their job.
Well, that's just getting you to look the other way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, part of the real problem is having a culturally diverse police department. Someone who just doesn't know all black, someone who just doesn't know all white, all Hispanic, all Asian, all American. I mean, you have to have someone who can empathize and sympathize and come together with people of all race, sex, and when you get that, then you get a better policing environment on the inside too. And one thing that I proposed was, instead of defunding the police and things like that, I was just talking with my friends. I was like, we should actually pay them more, 8 hours more a month, and on that 8 hours, have municipal police actually go and serve in the community that they serve in, so that they can, because most police don't live in the same community that they police. And so when you get a chance to be amongst the people that you police, then you kind of get a feel of your environment, and you be involved with different cultures than just your own. Because when I go home now, I'm older, I'm just with my wife and kids, you know, and my neighbors, you know, and my family come by. But life took me from Carter, all black, to Baylor, all white, to NFL, craziness all over. And I've traveled so much to where I've gotten involved in, you know, being thrown in front of different cultures and different people. And so you have to be able to manage that, you know, to be able to manage an environment full of alpha males.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah. How proud? How proud are you of what Baylor has done? You were there during the Grant Taft era, right about the time, I think. Am I right, Lishay, with the transition into Chuck Reedy, and then eventually,
I hope he's not listening. Well, because I'd like to say I'm the one that retired Grant Taft, because because my 4 years at Baylor was his last 4 years, you know, and I mean, I was something to behold as far as just my attitude and, you know, what I brought that, you know, Card attitude, and people didn't realize that we were talented, but we outworked everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You wasn't going to outwork us. You know, I went full go in practice. A couple of my teammates, Trooper Taylor and Clifton Ellison, they all named me Hammer, you know, because I was always hard. I was always coming hard. And, you know, when I brought that to Baylor, and Grant Taft was doing what he was supposed to do as a head coach, letting his assistants, you know, do most of the coaching while he steered the boat. And those last 4 years that I saw him, I can remember being called into his office one time, afraid, thought I was going to get kicked out. I got put on super secret probation, but we won't talk about that. and
man, you're a handful. You are a handful.
20 minutes ain't enough, but come on, let's go.
Yeah.
But great man, great father figure, great leader. I mean, I just can remember just cussing on the field, and he pulls me off the field, and he tells me, he says, "You see those guys sitting in the seat back there? They don't want to hear that. Now go out there with that same intensity and stop all that cussing."
Yeah.
And so I went out there and I just started whispering cuss words to people. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do, you know, just so that they wouldn't hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he worked with me. He was a great guy.
Well, and
great coach.
You had some time in the NFL as well. Was that a fun experience? Was that the fact you played in the league, and did you feel like, you know, you were able to accomplish enough?
Probably not as much as I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to do things on the defensive side. And for some reason, I got put on the offensive side. My second year, I got my first start as a fullback for the Houston Oilers. And that's when they fired Jack Purdy and Jeff Fisher took over. And we went to a two-back offense. And so I blocked for Gary Brown that first game. And, I mean, that was crazy. And then I got drafted to Jacksonville in the expansion draft and became their starting fullback for the next 2.5 years. Was out in '97 and '98. I played for the Redskins, and then I think I took my last hit, walked off the field, and said,
"That's it.
I don't want to do that no more."
Yeah.
I said, I can remember being on the kickoff team, blocking a guy, and was like, "That hurt. I don't want to do that anymore."
Man, well, so you went from being hit and taking those hits or delivering those hits, saying you don't want to do that, to being a police officer. I mean, which that's a little bit more dangerous, isn't it?
I couldn't tell. 6 months, 6 months later, 6 months of being retired, my mama looked at me and said, "Boy, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Why you sit up here spending all your money when you learn how to live like regular folks? Go get a job." And so I went out and found me a job. And 6 months later, I was a police officer.
Hey, and Dallas is better because of it. Carter's better because you were there, and Baylor's better because you were there. Thanks for the reminiscing. I know we got to go. We have Mack Rhoades, the AD's about to come up. And if you could, in a short amount of time, how proud are you of what Baylor football has been able to do and then come back from 2016 and 17 to be what they're doing now with head coach Dave Aranda about to take over?
I am so proud of my university, Baylor University, and I know by the publicity that we get up here in Dallas that somebody is against us. If we get too high, them people from UT and wherever come back on us and try to find something to bring us back down. Mm-hmm. They always want to put stuff on us, but what God has for us can't no man take away from us. And I'm going to tell you, I'm so proud of Baylor, so proud of the recruiting that Coach Aranda is doing, because he has one of the best defensive classes 2021, that I've seen, on the books, and, getting ready to come out here and do the thing.
Yep.
And I'm so proud of our fight, because I would like to think that some of that fight started back in the late 80s, early 90s when I was there, because Baylor got good and then we kind of went to average and then we got good again, and just to see them fight and struggle and come up on top. I was at that game at Texas at AT&T, and we were 2 or 3 plays away from beating OU. 2 or 3 plays away from beating OU. Mm-hmm. Man, so proud of my university. So proud.
And they're proud of you. Lishay, thank you very much for being a part of the show. Good luck to the last one in the family as far as your youngest son. Thank you very much. What an incredibly fun, enlightening, and happy segment.
Is anybody ever in a bad mood after they talk to you?
Yeah, that's
Golly,
great.
I feel like I've been talking to Scott Drew.
Man.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
JJ Joe said Lishay did retire Grant Taff, and yes, we all call him Hammer to this day. Great guy, great player. So that's JJ Joe.
Did you hear that, Lishay?
I did.
That's
I
good.
did. Thank you, JJ.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you, Lishay.
Right,
Maston, running back at Carter, I believe he was. Linebacker at Baylor. Played in the NFL, Jacksonville, Redskins, and I believe, Houston. He mentioned Houston. And what a happy man in this day and age where there's sometimes the frustration about what's going on with McLennan County and the schools that aren't going to be able to do things athletically until September, although they were told earlier today it looked like they could, based on what the UIL had to say. When we come back, Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades on SicEm365 Radio.
Summertime means vacation time, and when you hit the road, do it in the vehicle of summer, Jeep. At Allen Samuels, it's our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Get employee pricing on brand new 2020 Jeep Gladiator Sport Editions, plus an additional $1,500 in retail bonus cash. And ask about 0% and no payments for 90 days on other Jeep models. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details. All offers with approved credit.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel & Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel & Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel & Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Here we go, SicEm365 Radio. Baylor Director of Athletics Mack Rhoades. We need to introduce ourselves. Paul Catalina. It's Craig Smoke. I'm David Smoke. How you doing, sir?
Doing terrific. You know, there is a saying that you can have too much of a good thing, and so just needed to take a break last week. So
you put us in the timeout corner.
Yeah.
I'm done with you guys with all these questions. All right. So what was the most fun thing you were able to do? And I know you still had to be in contact with things, and there were quotes and interviews. I get that. But what was the most fun thing you were able to do to get away for however long it might have been from anything of your job?
Wow. It's really not that exciting because there hasn't been a lot of time. But, up in New Mexico, Amy and I and my daughter, Nicolette, and her soon-to-be fiance Christian, we took a little side trip to Rhoades, New Mexico, and we enjoyed some time there. So a lot of fun.
Mack, a lot's changed since the last time we've talked to you and about the scheduling and all that. And so far, the Big 12, SEC, ACC are on track. Obviously, there's going to be some things affected with the other conferences. How have discussions gone in planning to adapt to what's going on kind of around you guys right now?
Yeah, so, I can certainly speak for the Big 12, and, we're still, focused on 12 games. And, we're in conversation with our medical directors on a weekly basis. And, we'll continue to just move forward cautiously. And, right now, we still think that that's a viable option. In the meantime, right, we're certainly doing our work on other scheduling models and have been doing our work on other scheduling models in case, we can't get to 12, and in case we've got to do something less than 12. I think, that time frame continues to be right around the 1st of August and maybe even, as late as August 7th, August 8th, as you begin to start, practice camp, fall camp for the season. So, that's where we're at. we obviously got a variety of models on the table, and still hopeful that we can play 12, and that's certainly still number one on the list as of today.
Mack, the idea has been thrown around before, but especially, when someone like yourself and others a couple of weeks ago are caught off guard by what your fellow group of 5 commissioners have decided to do. Do you think there's any type of a role for a college football czar, so to speak? Some have referred to it that way, or an overarching authority type of figure, or would that be too complicated because of all the politics involved?
Yeah, I don't know that it would be too complicated. I think, any time I think an organization goes through adversity and crisis, right? I think you begin to evaluate and maybe reevaluate the model. And I think this is, I look at it as an opportunity. I think this is an opportunity, once we can take a breath, so to speak, for us to reevaluate the model. And is there a better way of doing this, right? Is there a better way in terms of efficiency and the way we operate and communicate within the NCAA, within our industry? And so, I certainly am one that is hopeful that we can reevaluate and take that time and do we really have the best model, right now? And hey, grass isn't always greener, but I do think we should take the time to evaluate and look to see if there's a better way, and having, one person or a leadership unit that's in charge of college football may be another way.
The discussions you have to represent Baylor, and then you also are a part of a conference. And even though there's no question, in my opinion, there might be some leaders that are a part of various teams in your conference that may not worry about others, I know that's how you feel. You and I have had more than just discussions during the show about that. It's about the conference. The SEC is all in, no matter if some of them hate each other. How much can you guys think about, or when you make decisions, worry about the non-Power 5 or even non-Group of 5 schools, the FCS teams, when it comes to non-conference games?
Yeah, that's a terrific question. I think there's different ways to answer that. I think just for the good of the sport of football, right? Just in general, this great sport that we all love. I think there's a responsibility there to think about it in totality, and that certainly, means FCS. It means Group of 5, right? Non A5. And so I think that's one way to look at it. And, you can look at and look at best interest, or think about best interest, in terms of that totality to a certain limit, right? And then, because, as you think about A5 and I'm not saying we're better, we've got different resources, right, that allow us to do different things and maybe even more things, right? I think you have to look at that, and then you have to coalesce around this subgroup of A5 and really make sure that we're doing the very best that we can for A5 and for particular, our student athletes and the way we service our student athletes, certainly in terms of health and safety, and even beyond that, some of the benefits and other things that we can provide. So that's kind of how I break it down. That separation, at one point in time, and Craig, you spoke to this, and maybe you were even alluding to it a little bit, but, is there a point in time in the future where, A5 and maybe certainly, a handful or some of the group of 5, not break away completely, but form their own, so to speak, vision in terms of football, right? And then how does that work with basketball? I think those things are all on the table as we think about the future of college athletics.
How close are you guys to, okay, you've said, obviously 12 is the goal, but if you have to, say, move back to 10 or 9, go plan A, B, or C, to where you have those plans in place to where, okay, well, plan A is out, let's go to plan B. Plan B's out, let's go to plan C.
Yeah, so I think, everything other than 12, I would say we're still in the vetting stages, Paul.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to put a percentage, on it, are we, we're certainly more than 50%. So we're somewhere between probably 50 and 75%. There's still some detail. There's still some conversations to have, the data to collect, right? So, I feel like we're in a good position, good place. If something were to happen tomorrow, right, or in the next 2 or 3 days that forced us to make a decision on an alternate other than 12, I don't think it would take us long at all to get there. I think we could do that pretty quickly and do it with confidence in terms of it's we're choosing the right model. So we're not far, but certainly still have some more work to do.
Hey, Mack, I wondered this whenever you said A5. What does A5 stand for? I know there's G5, P5. People refer to it as different things. What does the A stand for?
Autonomous.
Okay,
so autonomous 5, and that refers to NCAA legislation, and it's probably the more humble way to reference, the 5 versus Power 5, and that's the way I reference it, and again it's really that word autonomy. Autonomous is tied to the NCAA legislation, the ability for us in certain areas to create, permissive legislation that we can set for ourselves, and then certainly others can follow if they want.
Gotcha. That's great information to know. You guys sent out the latest test results yesterday. I'd say definitely more positive news than some other schools are having to deal with. But where do you feel like you are in the onboarding? You mentioned a couple of weeks ago kind of the loose schedule. Has much shifted from that, just given what's happened the last couple of weeks?
No, not much has shifted. Maybe because of the latest numbers. Maybe an opportunity, to onboard basketballs a little bit sooner than what we thought. And so, we're working through that process and beginning the self-quarantine process earlier than what maybe we anticipated with the basketball programs. But I would say, other than that, I think, we're right on schedule, right where we thought we would be. And again, every day is a new day, as and can change. And so we're just, again, trying to be cautious and do it the right way. And trying to make sure that, our student athletes, our staff, everybody, takes it seriously, continues to take it seriously and do their part.
We've discussed what Dave Aranda and his staff have accomplished under the circumstances, especially a first-year staff, and they had a national signing day that was very good, and now they're on a roll. You can't specifically discuss players, but hey, how about your men's basketball team? In the last week, they have popped 3 big-time names in this environment. Your thoughts about that?
Yeah, one, there's a couple different thoughts. I think one just obviously speaks to Scott Drew and his relentless, his tireless work. The staff. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the staff, the entire staff, their work, right? And just this idea of no excuses, right? No matter the circumstances, we're going to continue to just attack and work hard and be diligent. And then, I think the other piece of this is just the health of the Baylor brand. And I was thinking about this just a couple of days ago when all of this was happening in terms of the verbal commits. But Baylor's brand has rebounded, quite well over the last 3 years, and that's just really a testament to the great coaches and the great student athletes and great staff we have, and campus, university leadership, Dr. Livingstone, our board of regents, on and on and on. And so, I feel like Baylor University is in a good place, and by no means perfect. We've talked about it, previously, the founding of Baylor University, and we've got a lot of work ahead of us there in that particular area, and social injustice, et cetera. But I just think from a national perspective, the Baylor brand is in a really good place.
I've always felt with Scott Drew that if he could just get that moment where people could see the basketball side of it, because when you meet him, you meet the personality side of it, but on a national level, and certainly I think this last year finally really gave them that without, the noise of some other teams around them. And I think it's paying off now.
Yeah, I do. I think it really is paying off. And, Scott's, we all know that he's a terrific person and just, always optimistic, never down, right? Just a tireless worker, but he's also a really dang good basketball coach. And I think the thing I appreciate about Scott most is he knows who he is. He understands his strengths. He understands his limitations. I think he does a great job in terms of self-reflection, and people that have that quality, right, and that are humble, they continue to grow, they continue to learn, they continue to get better, and I think you see that with Scott, and you see that with our assistant coaches, et cetera. And it's just in my, I guess it will be 4 years here in August, mid-August. I've seen that growth, and it's really cool to see, and again, you see the program, and it's been good, long before I got here, so it didn't just all of a sudden become good, and they've had runs to the Elite Eight and all of those things. But I do think just from a consistency overall program level, you are just the totality, every aspect of the program, you're seeing it get just better and better and better.
If the game with Ole Miss is played, which of course there's been some erroneous reports about that, and you and I have spoken about it, it was just like throwing something against the wall. And if it sticks, even if it sticks 3 or 4 weeks later, it makes someone look good. But if the game is played, is there a chance it may not? If in fact it's played, is there a chance it will be played outside of Houston?
Yeah, I think there's a chance, and again, you and I had this conversation 2 weeks ago, and nothing's changed. There has not been a conversation, at least with ESPN and Ole Miss that I've been involved with, that I can attest to, that there's been, certainly no conversation about cancellation of game. I think there's a reality of, okay, can the game still be played, in Houston, just given, COVID-19 and the positive cases in Harris County and Fort Bend County. And so logically, right, I don't think this is groundbreaking, but logically, right, you sit there and say, okay, if that is not feasible to have the game there, then you have to start looking, is there another neutral site, right? And so certainly, Houston NRG has not been crossed off the list, but if you're going to play it, right, and if you cannot play it for some reason in NRG, you better have a plan B. And I think, we're looking at, hey, what could that plan B look like?
Paul? Craig, I have the one question that's about protocol. Is a young man that has been through quite a bit, and others have been through quite a bit. And if this life, if you haven't been through something, then then you haven't probably lived long enough or it's about to happen. Logan Compton is back with the football program. I know it's been a long process and a learning process. When you're the one that's in charge of 500-plus student athletes and some are going to go through things in life, what about the patience, the perseverance, and that he has been back, or he is now back with the athletic department?
Yeah, I think one, I'd probably just want to start by saying what a really sad story for everybody involved. And I mean that, prayers, thoughts go out to the impacted family, and they also go out to Logan and to his family. And it's been hard. It's been a certainly a long journey for Logan. And, I appreciate the way that he personally has handled everything, and his family have handled everything. They've been patient. They've had a complete understanding of the seriousness of all of it, right? And the different emotion on both sides, and the compassion and the empathy and all of those things. And I'm happy for Logan. I'm happy for his family. That he can, join the football team again. As you all know, the institution allowed him to come back and enroll in classes, and now he can be part of the football program again. And I know that he appreciated that opportunity before the accident and the tragedy happened, but I'm certain that he even appreciates it more, and will make the very most of it. And again, just really, really happy for him and his family.
Matt, great to have you back on. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. So many days, so many things that change. We know that a lot of things we talk about today could change by tomorrow, but we appreciate your we had a poll, or we had a kind of a survey among all of us on SicEm365, and this is not just to say this, but your genuineness and your openness has been special, and we appreciate that. And I think the Baylor fans, all of them do. We appreciate you for being a part of the show when you are.
Well, thank you guys, and you guys make it easy to do that. So appreciate you all, and we'll look forward to next Tuesday.
Mack Rhoades, yes, sir, Director of Athletics at Baylor, with us every Tuesday at 4:20. Last week he just his phone didn't.
He needs some time off from at least one of us.
He needed to get away from us for a little bit.
I mean, if we're sick of hearing about certain things, can you imagine what he's sick of hearing about at this point? I mean,
no
my
question.
gosh. And I thought I had to ask that A5 thing, because every week I hear him mention that, and I always forget to ask. But I don't know if you guys already knew what that meant when he referred to it, but the autonomous 5. So I thought that was interesting. And did y'all go over? I did not get much of a chance to listen yesterday. No, Logan Compton.
Oh, yeah.
In that story yesterday. I know a lot of people still don't maybe even know what it's referring to, but he had been involved in a car accident. Someone lost their life, and he initially got arrested and had to face charges just because that's what happens, when something like that occurs. But it's such great news that, he's able to have the opportunity once again. It was nothing, obviously ill will or, ill intentioned to begin with. It was a car accident, and that's very unfortunate.
And really bad weather.
And on a bad road that's known for bad car accidents. So that's just a tragedy all the way around. And, definitely thoughts with the other family, but very happy for the Compton family. I know that was tough.
Yeah, and I saw his father make a comment in Logan as well. And I think the best thing now is he's back. Just go to work. Go back to working on what you do. All right, when we come back, Shane Anderson from Conley. What an up and down day it's been for cadets, along with 4As through 1As in McLennan County. We'll have him and Jeff Hume on the big boys and what they're doing next on SicEm365 Radio. Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is SicEm365 Radio. The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
All right, so we've been over this day today, which for us, we do Connolly football. We will do Connolly football. It seemed like it was a perfect situation that their games were going to be played starting that last weekend in August. But well, things changed in a matter of just a few hours. Shane Anderson, who I've spoken with now more than he wants to admit, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. You're told you're going to play. You're going to start working out as scheduled. And then all of a sudden, McLennan County comes up with a gut punch to anybody 4A and below. What kind of an emotional roller coaster have you been on today?
It's been tough. Like I said, when we were texting back and forth, and I told you earlier today, we broke the news to the kids. They've been, and that's what this is all about. It's not about me. It's not about our coaching staff. It's not about anybody besides these kids and these kids in McLennan County. And, UIL, they did what they thought was best and they put it out there. And, they've been going to bat for, on this deal for a long, long time, working really, really hard on it.
and we thank them for that. And we broke the news to our kids, and a lot of excitement. Kids get out of here, right around noon, and then I'll go in with you guys around 2:45 to record our deal. And right as I'm getting off the phone, I start getting texts. First one I got was from my mom, and she was like, "This ain't good," and so here we are.
How much work do you guys have now to kind of work this in, and do you even have an idea of what your season will look like now?
Well, when you guys just called back, I was on the phone with Coach Howard over in La Vega. We're talking. We've been in communication. I actually had to go on a regional meeting for the board of directors down at THSCA. We did all that via Zoom, obviously with the pandemic. So I was doing that. He was on the phone with UIL, and the best we can tell right now is that first week of the 7th and 8th. That first week's going to be an acclimation, basically another week of strength and conditioning, and then you put the helmets on, then you put the pads on, and so on and so forth. And the best we can tell, the first game we can play will be October the 2nd.
October now, not the last week in September.
That's correct. That's the best we can tell. On October 2nd, which would normally been our bye week, and La Vega's bye week. And anybody who had a 16 district, that would have been your bye week.
Okay. So that would be your first game. It'll be a non-district game?
It'll be a non-district game, and right now, tentatively, Donnie, Hyde, and I, we're just going to play each other. Conley versus La Vega to start the season in October.
Now, the district then, you would hope by then, and if there's no changes, will remain intact. And you'll have a chance to decide who's going to go on to make the playoffs. But you're now going to lose. You went from thinking you're going to play the entire season and the playoffs, and the 5As and 6As were going to be delayed a month, and yet they were still going to get their entire seasons and deep into even maybe January for the fortunate ones. And then what appeared to be great for 4As to 1As, McLennan County just cut your knees out. It just... Was there any semblance that this was going to happen between school districts in McLennan County? Anything at all?
Nah, we had no idea. Unless I was totally naive to something that somebody told me. But, like I said, we had no idea. We figured it was going to be, every school, do what you think's best for your area and your school district. And we've had admin meetings on campus with our upper admin and principals, and we were planning on starting school on August the 13th with 3 weeks being on remote in person, basically for no other reason than to give the teachers some time to get their stuff together. And we were going to start on August 3rd, go through the 2 days and scrimmages. We had a scrimmage set up with Lorena, who was an ex-district rival, and then we were going to get an opportunity to scrimmage Argyle, who's a perennial powerhouse and somebody that would really give us a test and tell us where we're at as a football team. And like I said, it's all out the window. I'm gonna do everything I can to get my kids together for a team meeting tomorrow, and just explain to them the best we can.
Thanks, Shane. I can't even imagine. Who knows? You wake up tomorrow and something else is different. But McLennan County, I think I saw Chad Conine. I'll give him credit for this in the Trib, but had a conversation with them. It didn't seem like there was any discussion about the fact sports might be taken down with this. Good luck. Hey, we're excited. Whenever that first game is, we are now. What a great start for us. Conley La Vega in early October. It can't get any better than that. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Hey, thank you, guys.
That's Shane Anderson. Paul, Jeff Hume?
Yeah, let me call him real quick.
All right, we'll get Jeff Hume on and get his perspective. So it looked like, Craig, at 5As and 6As, okay, we're going to be delayed, but we have the full season in front of us, whether it's when we start late September, and if you're lucky enough, you play right through December into January, which is unique. And the only way they could fill the entire season. And then all of a sudden, you're one of these 4As down below to 1A in McLennan County, and not just McLennan, other counties, and you may play 5 or 6 games. You might. And, of course, you do have the chance to make the playoffs and play then.
Well, if I'm one of these coaches, I'm still trying to figure out how our games aren't going to be made up, but those for the 5 and 6As are going to be allowed to play in full all the way into January. I'm sorry, I seem to recall that the fall was going to be worse for all the coronavirus experts out there, that when the cold weather came, it was going to be worse. So I don't see how playing state championship games or semifinals games in January is really going to be all that better for anybody involved in any way, except for those schools just being able to play those games. I'd be pissed, and I could tell Shane Anderson is. I could tell a lot of coaches are right now. You know, McLennan County, I don't know what's going on with you guys at the moment. I know you're swamped, but, you know, on the same day that somebody who's in charge of, you know, McLennan County's health district or one of the, main local officials is suddenly, you know, not in play now, and you go and take, you know, just hours later, the jubilation of these coaches who are finally getting some good news, and you just rip it away without much of an explanation. I just, like, who's leading, man? Like, who's in charge? And these officials that are the ones that we're looking to, that are supposed to be the real leaders, you're not leading. You're just reacting. You're reacting to public opinion, and you're reacting to others finally making decisions for you. So get your S together, and figure these things out and communicate, for goodness sakes, because it's just ridiculous, the lack of communication going on.
Yeah, and it's just interesting. Matt Stepp, who we had Greg Tepper on, I don't think people realize just how many small schools there are. Texas is a massive, unique state when it comes to population density. It's a beast. For example, the smallest school, Valentine has 9 students. Allen has 6,664, and it will be interesting. And it's not. And we discuss mainly football. That's what we cover the most thoroughly. But at the same time, it does affect a lot of people. Other sports have been pushed back as well, that thought that things were normal to start in early August and not able to get that going. Is he not answering?
No.
Okay. All right. When we come back, David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com. I just thought he just tried to call you. Yeah. He said sure.
Okay. Well,
we'll come back with David Hellman. We'll squeeze in Jeff Hume between David Hellman and John McClain. This is SicEm365 Radio. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. And order 30-pound bags of live crawfish by noon on Thursday and pick up on Friday to enjoy the weekend. Live crawfish available right now. And Waco Custom Marketplace doors are open for business Monday through Friday from 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5. And crawfish boil boxes available as well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasonings, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace, doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday 10 to 5, 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with David Hellman of DallasCowboys.com.
Prescott going to keep it all. What a zone read. Look at Dak Prescott with room to roll. Prescott still going down to the 20.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go, this 5 o'clock hour. 3 more guests today. David Hellman. We'll have John McClain, Hall of Fame rider, as well at the back of the hour. And in between, Jeff Hume, head coach at Midway on today's madness with the UIL and then some counties changing that up. We're all now joined by David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com. David, is it tomorrow, right? Is rookies report tomorrow? What kind of news will there be? Do they go through the standard COVID testing, all that?
That's a great question, and it just kind of like highlights how bizarre and unprecedented this whole thing is. Tomorrow's the report date for rookies, but I believe, the big news yesterday was that they're going to institute daily COVID testing, but they're only going to implement that after a long enough period of time to get everybody acclimated. So I don't think that even starts right away. And as far as news, I tend to doubt it because, I don't think the media is going to play a part of this for at least the first couple weeks of the acclimation period. So it's technically starting up tomorrow, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a slow roll.
How much, and he's not going to be the only one, but shockwaves does it send to the NFL and the organization of the Cowboys when a player like DeMarcus Lawrence says, look, I'm not sure if I can be here this year?
Yeah, it certainly makes people take notice, and it certainly wasn't a coincidence that so many of the big-name players put their concerns out there on Sunday. I think they wanted to raise as much awareness as possible. I'll be interested to see where it goes because since they did that, the players got daily testing, and it sounds like they are going to get rid of the preseason. I don't think that's official, but it sounds like it's trending in that direction. And I know, they're still sorting out some of the monetary issues, but it sounds like the players are getting a lot of what they want from the owners. So I'll be interested to see, give it a week or so and see where everything is and see if that's enough to get some of these higher name guys on board.
David, we've seen some of the rookies now signing their contracts. CeeDee Lamb obviously got a lot of the headlines, but what are your thoughts on a Reggie Robinson who signed his contract yesterday?
I never thought that was really a big deal, to be honest with you, because the way that the draft is structured, these contracts are basically slotted. It's down to a basic dollar amount depending on where you're drafted. And I know things are uncertain with COVID, but unless you're a top 10 pick by NFL standards, these are pretty small contracts. Reggie Robinson's contract, I think the whole thing is worth about $2 million, which again, by NFL standards, it's not a whole lot. So I know there's a lot of uncertainty, but I never really had a lot of doubt that when it came time to report, most of these guys would get signed without a lot of issue, and that seems to be what's happening.
Yeah, it is. And is that like just basically clock? There was a day back in the day, of course, that's because I'm old, where there were holdouts as rookies, and it kind of dragged on. Now, isn't it almost like you just stamp the envelope, but guys get what they get, and there's very little argument among the rookies and their agents?
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to date yourself too much. It was only within the last decade that this changed. It was the new CBA that basically killed the rookie holdout. Because again, I mean, they basically cut what first round picks get in half. It wasn't that long ago that Matt Stafford and Sam Bradford signed $50 million signing bonuses, and now I think, Joe Burrow's contract, the whole thing is probably worth about 30. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's slotted by draft order. So you say, you're the 15th pick in the draft. Well, this is your dollar amount, which is about $150,000 more than the guy after you and $150,000 less than the guy in front of you. It's very boilerplate, and with very few exceptions about signing bonuses and workout bonuses, you just don't see it very often anymore, which, I'm not complaining about it because it kind of takes the drama out of getting rookies into training camp.
How much less intrigue is there, or maybe there's more, I don't know, but usually by this point, there's some undrafted rookies that we've all seen and said, oh, this guy, probably should have been drafted or could have been drafted. We haven't seen that now. Are they going to have a much harder time making the team this year unless there's just like an absolute need for someone at their position?
I think it's a great point, and yeah, I think it's something to watch. Actually, if you remember my buddy Philip Tanner, the former, he was a former undrafted free agent who spent a couple years as a Cowboys running back, and he was a member of the special teams coaching staff last year. He pointed out on Twitter the other day is that, in a shortened year with no real off season and a very restricted training camp, it stands to reason that teams are going to lean on veteran guys who have been there and done that. And obviously draft picks are a little bit of a different story, but when you're talking about, guys that you need to fill out your kickoff team, maybe this is a year where you lean on guys that have been there and done that more than trusting it to rookies. And so, yeah, I mean, I think every single rookie in this league, with very few exceptions, I think is going to have an even steeper challenge than normal, just because of, how little work they've gotten to do so far this offseason.
David, Michael Bennett announced his retirement. His time with the Cowboys was not very long at all, but what will you remember from his time with Dallas?
I mean, I think it speaks volumes about where the defense was last year, that a guy like Michael Bennett showed up and claimed such a vocal role on the defense after about 3.5 weeks. And, that was a big storyline at the time, and it was puzzling at the time. And when you saw where the defense ended up, I think it helps explain it. That, a guy that played with the Seattle defenses and won a Super Bowl and played in another one, I think that Dallas defense last year was lacking that. And, unfortunately there was only so much Bennett could do. But I think, given how little time he was there, I think that's what I'll remember him most for. Yeah. And, he was good for like an offside flag or two every week. But, hey, I mean, somebody had to try to get to the quarterback.
Well, what game was it that he was the one they lost and he was the one that was yelling? And that was kind of thing. It's like, the new guy is the one that's mad?
Yeah, I want to say, they traded for him during their bye week. And so he got there just in time for the Giants game. I want to, my memory is a little fuzzy, but I want to say it was the Thanksgiving game where they just got beat up by Buffalo. And yeah, he kind of, he gave a big speech after the game and kind of yelled at everybody. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It was kind of like, wait, we've got DeMarcus Lawrence and Jalen Smith and all these big money guys, and the guy that just got here a month ago is the one giving the speech. That doesn't seem right. And sure enough, he kind of had the spark that the defense was lacking the entire season.
Anything else, guys? David, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
People
it.
Arriving on campus this week, so-called campus at what is, of course, the Star. By that game, that Conley game with La Vega, which is kind of interesting. They were going to play the second week of the season. They'll play October 2nd. I think I earlier may have said the 5th. Don Hyde corrected me on that. It's October 2nd, and then those two programs will then head into district play. But they lose, 3 games or so with the non-district. Here's a question I was asked. So let's say you're a district and you have 2, like Round Rock and I don't know if it'd be Austin, or let's say you have 2 Pflugerville. Let's just throw those two in there. I'm not even sure. But let's say you have an 8-team district and you're in 2 different counties and you have 7 district games to play and one county won't let you play until after the districts start.
I promise you that has not been discussed among the counties.
No.
I'm sure the coaches have, because I'm sure when you see this, you're like, well, all right, so, I mean, if half your district is in, Bexar County and the other half is in, what's the other county in San Antonio? Or Buda County, right? Is it Hayes?
That's south of Austin.
Yeah, but but if you're there, like you said, if you're there, or if you're McLennan and Bell County, what are you going to do?
And how is McLennan shutting down and Bell's not, given that they've had far higher numbers from everything that I've seen?
Well, maybe Bell just hasn't decided that they're going to yet.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just so what was McLennan's
All right,
rush?
so if
But
that's
there's
the
also
case,
the Bell County schools are all 5 and 6A for the most part anyway. So maybe they don't have to make that decision. As where McLennan County has, like what schools are 4A in Bell County really, compared to McLennan County that has already Connolly, La Vega, Mart, Bosqueville.
Salato's in Bell County. I just threw them out there. Just kind of popped them out. Coriel's Lampasas, right? So
what is Lake Belton starting off as?
They're going to be they're not going to be varsity. I don't know what that was.
Okay.
But yeah.
Here, Dylan, say that. That's from.
All right, so my uncle is the McLennan
Closer.
County.
Closer.
My uncle is the McLennan County administrator, so I texted him and asked him why they did it. And he sent me a text back that said it wasn't the county. It's a local health authority that did it. He's a doctor and independent and decided no in-person activity until September 8th.
So a doctor made the call.
Yeah.
All right.
And look, and that date, the other thing that's kind of scary to me about that is that date could get pushed as well. I mean, if nothing changes by September 8th, I mean, what's to say that that's the day that everything's going to be fine?
Listen to this, Don Hyde. Hard to explain to your kids that all 5 of your district opponents are going to play 5 games before we play our first.
Yeah, it is. But I do think that's probably not going to hold tight either.
Sure, but I mean, as of today, you worry about the moment, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of times, we kind of came to a conclusion about 2 or 3 weeks ago when we all just got worn out with it. God, can we just look at the moment? Mm-hmm. But here's La Vega's going to be fine. They ought to go play the 5As and 6As anyway. But that every team in their district will, if in fact things go according to plans, which as Mack Rhoades has said many times, it won't. They'll have 5 games before you play your first.
Mm-hmm.
Gunner football. If anybody else got dropped by a private school or Dallas County school week 1, we're looking for a game. Gunner Tigers, by the way, really good football team. And, wow, it's just a mess. All right, let's see if we can get Jeff Hume on to give us what he has dealt with today as a 6A team and their changes. McLennan County's ruling really doesn't affect Midway. They were already not able to start till the first week in September anyway. John McClain, 5:30. We've had Mack Rhoades and Dave Aranda, and Lee Shea Maston was hilarious. SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. People you can trust. Richard Carr Motors has been giving you deals all month long, and those deals continue on because right now you get employee pricing. That's right. If you're looking for a new car, there is no better time than right now to take advantage of savings. You pay what employees pay all month long. Right now, if you're looking for some luxury, some style, and maybe a little bit of power and all of that rolled up into a new SUV, well, don't settle. Drive the Cadillac XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. You can experience the thrill of owning the Cadillac XT4 right now for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. They've also got the Buick Encores, the perfect crossover SUV, roomy interior, quiet ride, packed safety features, packed with the latest technology. Right now, you can get a Buick Encore for only $19,900. That's a savings of $6,000 on a 2020 Buick Encore. Great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, and in-town priority warranty service. All comes with your purchase at Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor alumni that wants the chance to earn your business, so stop by their daily disinfected showroom and see their safety-focused staff where they can bring the test drive to your home. because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them at richardcarr.com or Highway 6 is the Imperial exit.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodway. PettyClinicLowT.com.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home. How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
We've heard from Shane Anderson. We'll hear from John McClain next segment. That was David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com. But Jeff Hume wakes up to the news, along with all the other coaches around the state of Texas, that their football season would be pushed back a month. They would start the last week in September, but get the entire full season in. And it looked like everyone else around Waco, La Vega, Conley, China Spring, Mart, others, would have their season start on time, and they would get their full season in. Jeff, what is today? And you haven't lost games. You continue your same schedule, but does today kind of remind you with what you've seen of when realignment just laid everything on the table the first Monday in February?
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. It's really, I really feel like I've been on a roller coaster at Six Flags. I have absolutely zero control. My head is spinning out of whack. When I get off, I need some Tylenol, but then I look around and go, man, that was fun. Let's do it again.
So,
just because you finally get some good news today, in a sense, saying, hey, we are going to play football. It's going to be a little different just because we're starting a little bit later, and we may have to make adjustments. But, the majority of our football season is gonna be played.
And obviously there could be other shoes to drop, but it's, for the 4As and belows here in McLennan County today was just a hurricane of good and bad news all at once. But for you guys, how much does it change what you're going to do in the next few weeks?
Yeah, and I tell you what, for those guys, for Coach Hyde and Coach Anderson and Coach Bell, it's those three schools. I just communicated with Coach Bell just a few minutes ago, and you talk about a range of emotions for those guys from the start to the finish with our our county health official. It's going to change a little bit getting back to us in the sense where our first game opponent, Round Rock, is now going to be our scrimmage, and which is the 24th, 25th that week, Thursday, Friday. We haven't figured out if we're going to scrimmage on Thursday or Friday, and then our first game will be October 2nd, Friday Night Lights, baby. Here we come, Mojo, Odessa Permian. So that's going to be our first official game because of how everything is worded according to the UIL combined with the county official saying what we can and can't do.
Okay. I feel like I got spaghetti. Yeah. I feel like I got spaghetti noodles in my head, which is what happens when you're a junior college guy like I am. So say that again.
Okay, so because the McLennan County has shut us down, and that's obviously everybody, and we can't do in-person school until September 8th, I think.
Right.
Not September 7th because it's Labor Day. And the UIL put in a little sliver that says, okay, if you are in a county that has shut down, your first week back of football, which is September 7th now, has to be used as a strength and conditioning week. Your second week of football, September 14th, is actually your first week of football, which is the acclimation period where you wear your helmets and your shoulder pads after a few days. And then the following week, which is the 21st now, is your scrimmage week. If you choose to have a scrimmage, you can't play a game, but if you choose to have a scrimmage, then that makes the October 2nd game your first game. If we had not been shut down, okay, then all that would be a moot point, and we could have played September 24th or 25th instead of having it a scrimmage.
Right.
But because we were shut down, that puts us in a different category according to the UIL. That puts us in the category of Dallas and Travis County.
That's amazing.
And so we have to follow what those officials tell us to do for obviously health and safety reasons. But it does, because when we first got the news, I forget when they rolled it out, about 10 o'clock, everybody's looking at it going, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, here we go. 11 weeks plus 10 games, everything's good. And then dominoes start falling a little bit, because then we heard Tarrant County health officials and then McLennan County health officials. You got Travis County down there. And things could change in the next few days or weeks. I mean, who knows what Bell County's going to do? And then you got Williamson County stuck in between Travis and Bell County. What will they do? Will they feel pressure to have to shut down because the two counties beside them? I mean, and we said this before last time. I think we talked that the new word of the millennium right now is fluid. So it's a fluid situation that could change daily, if not hourly.
Imagine if I said this, the guys, and these are good people, Jerry Forrest, Carl Padilla, Sarah Hornaday, the ones who put out the schedules, who have been working on it since really February, and have it for the for people to keep up with all the information. I know everyone's kind of we'll miss some games, but they have been on that and had that all in bed, ready to go, and sent it out. And now they've got to basically almost go back and redo it again. And not only that, we have 2 seasons that collide in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, Coach, you have 9 regular season games official as it stands now then.
We have 9, and we do have the option because of the way our district is of trying to fill a game on October 16th. Right now, October 16th is an open week for us. And, so right now I've got game 1, which is Odessa, game 2, South Grand Prairie, and then an open week, and then we start district with Waxahachie on October 23rd. If there's a district out there, or if, because October 16th is pretty late, I mean, considering when a lot of people can start, I don't know if there'll be a game for us October 16th. And then the other thing, I don't know if there is one, is it a good game for us before we start district? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Would it be better for us to keep that bye week because you got Round Rock, Odessa, South Grand Prairie, and then have a bye week before, we start district? Those are some things that we've got to figure out the next couple of days. But, to your point, Craig, we have 9 official games right now, plus a scrimmage. And, and the scrimmage was against going to be our week 1 opponent. Now, granted, it'll be called a scrimmage, but we can look at it and say, hey, we're still playing 10 opponents.
Right. So you're
unlike what Coach Anderson and Conley and them have to do. So, they're losing 4 or 5 games.
Yeah. Oh, I know. So Round Rock is now a scrimmage?
Round Rock, the 24th and 25th is a scrimmage.
Yeah, which was a game. Okay. All right.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Hey,
there's not enough Advil in the world.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Well, you two, Paul, you and Smoke, you two were almost speechless there. That's a rarity, for you guys.
Yeah, it is.
What did he say?
Craig can back me up on that one. And I'll guarantee you, Craig sit there and go, man, I've never heard that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, we lost him. I couldn't hear Jeff.
Exactly.
Thank you, Jeff.
Exactly.
Good luck with it all, man. Let us know if that's 16th. That I might put that out there, and you get 50 phone calls for that game, and who knows what might happen, but.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for the explanation. That's just another different way of things going wacko with what's going on in McLennan County and the UIL and all the things in between. And then there's that little nugget of the UIL says, yeah, but.
Well, and as he said, like these, and as we were referring to, Bell County hasn't made a decision, but they could. Or Williamson County hasn't made a decision, but they could. And so I think that today was supposed to be a day that actually brought clarity, and I'm not so sure we're not more confused on what it's actually going to look like. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I feel like perhaps coaches are more stressed today than they were last night before any news dropped, or are mostly all coaches relieved now just because they're going to be getting football. I would imagine that's probably just, hey, signs that we're getting football is the positive, whether you're playing 5 games, 9 games, or 10 games, but given we're on July 21st, now we've got even more time before the actual season will start for anyone. And, all these games already being canceled and yet so much still uncertainty and lack of clarity as far as just what everything's going to look like. I don't think we're done being stumped or having some logistics to work out. I think there's going to be a lot more to work out, and clearly there already is right now, but even more to work out moving forward.
John McClain will join us next, and as we get updates, and my God, we could take 5-6 hours going over some of the coaching changes.
But hey, it's better than
not
canceling the whole season.
Yeah, or saying, hey, we're not playing until the spring, which I think would be a complete disaster.
California.
SicEm365 Radio continues in a moment. How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's summer. Time to go somewhere in a new Jeep from Allen Samuels. It's our huge summer clearance event featuring 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on our hottest models. Pick a new 2020 Jeep Cherokee Latitude with $5,750 in total values or 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or the fun 2020 Jeep Renegade with up to $7,000 in total values or 0% for 72. Adios 2020s from Allen Samuels.
We're fighting hard at Pickup Outfitters in our battle to end truck nudity. But it's not just about putting an outfit on a naked truck, it's about making sure you have the very best customer service. So we offer the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. Over time, sometimes your outfit needs a little tune-up, maybe some tightening, adjusting, whatever. If you outfitted your truck at Pickup Outfitters, that tune-up is absolutely no charge for the remainder of the time you own that truck. We also offer free warranty assistance. If for any reason you need to use your warranty, you just bring it back to us and we take care of it. It just makes sense. I mean, operating without a promise like that would be like offering customer service in the nude. And if you've seen our staff, trust me, you don't want that. So do your part to end truck nudity by outfitting your truck, Jeep, SUV, or van at Pickup Outfitters, 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we promise to serve you fully clothed. Check out our website, createacommotion.com.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
You know, it was about 3 weeks ago we had Astros TV broadcaster Todd Callis on the show. He will miss the start of the regular season. He tested positive for COVID. Asymptomatic, feeling fine, is quarantined at home in Houston. Kevin Eschenfelder will fill in for Callis alongside Jeff Blum in the broadcast booth. We're joined by John McClain of the Houston Chronicle. So, John, are the NFL players and owners now on the same page on how they report and what they do and how they stay safe?
Nope, they're still negotiating. They're ironing out things. What they've yet to iron out is still the financial issues. The owners knew all along they were going to give up on the preseason games and roster sizes, and of course the owners wanted to protect the players as much as possible because they're valuable commodities. But what the owners want is to make sure that if there's no fans at games, it doesn't look like there will be, they're going to lose a lot of money. On the other hand, the owners make like $286 million from network television before they ever get a ticket sold, and so they're not going to be hurting, considering they're getting that network television money. But they still have things to iron out. They want, and the way it is right now, like a company that the NFL has hired, paying $2.34 million per team. And that company's called BioReference, and they have a mobile unit on site at every facility. Texans have one in the parking lot. People can come out, walk in, get the nasal swab, get the results back in 24 hours. And they're working on trying to do it where you can get the results back in like 15 minutes. But that's a huge step. And right now, the rookies came in yesterday. They can't go into the facility till they test negative twice. So they did the test yesterday, went back to the hotel. They'll go again tomorrow. And then if they test negative again, then they'll go in and take their physicals. And then eventually they'll be on the field. The players want 31 days with no pads. The owners want 20 days with no pads. And even when they put on pads, they don't hit each other. They don't take each other to the ground. So basically what the NFL players want is an off-season program with a lot of physical conditioning, even though they're supposed to have been working out. And one of the reasons I think they made a mistake not having a preseason game, they should have put, this is terrible, but nobody knows what's going to happen after a game when they bleed on each other, sweat on each other, spit on each other, blow snot on each other. So you should have had a preseason game, put all the backups out there and let them play and then see how many test positive. Maybe it's one, maybe it's two. What if it's 10 or 12? And what if it's a quarterback? So we're going to have to find that out the hard way after the first games of the season. And as Todd Callis of the Astros, they're showing, he's asymptomatic, has no problems at all, but he had to get tested. He tested positive. So he's got to stay home till he can pass at least 2 tests in a row in a minimum of 5 days. So there's going to be havoc wreaked early in the season because of COVID-19.
Would you say that things are less contentious or the same than they were this weekend when many players started tweeting about everything that was going on and how the NFL had given them no answers?
Well, first of all, those players tweeting, that didn't have jack squat to do with the owners saying the next day, no preseason games. A lot of people are trying to go, oh, my goodness, they scared the owners. They said, we better have no preseason games. The owners have had a strategy, and the strategy is to play hardball on things they don't care about. And then the things they do care about, like finances, that's where they want to win the battles. And so it's never been contentious like baseball, where you had the commissioner and the head of the union taking shots at each other publicly. There's been a lot of decorum, and the only things that ever come out is what's leaking out in the media, and then when they have conference calls. So I think it's been very cordial. And the star players who came out Sunday with the hashtag "We Want to Play," that was mainly for the players and the fans and the media.
John, we've heard Mack Rhoades discuss, how college football might change, just in certain ways for forever as a result of how things have played out. Maybe it's the way that they've operated amongst the commissioners, and maybe there is a need for a czar type of figure. For the NFL, they're seeing the lack of preseason games or other changes that have been made. How do you see the NFL, perhaps, if at all, being different in the way they conduct their business, like preseason games, for example, post-COVID?
Well, they're going to have preseason games because the owners get paid the full freight. Now, they're going to a 17th game no later in 2022, probably going to be next year to bring in more money. And so then they're going to knock off one preseason game. Remember, as a season ticket holder, you got to pay for all those preseason games. That's money in the owner's pockets, in which the players make a minimal amount of money. So that's a big deal to the owners. Now, if you give them an extra regular season game, that's good. And eventually they're going to go to 18. NFL's gone 10, 12, 14, 16, 17. It's only a matter of time before that 18th game comes in there, and then they'll lop off another preseason game. But I think what you may see is like, I don't know if I'll ever shake hands again. You know, if you thought about that, you can't shake hands. Guy hits the home run, he's rounding third base, will he shake hands? Will guys go out and mob him when it's a walk-off homer? I think there's a lot of things we do that we took for granted that now we're going to go, well, whoa, this might help me keep from getting a cold or the flu. And the first thing I think we'll all do is constantly wash our hands.
Yeah, things have changed quite a bit. So, John, with the Cowboys are now about to open up, as everybody else is, and they got through this thing now with Dak, which was just a constant, and now at least there's no discussion about a contract until perhaps later in the year. Jerry, that I cannot remember Jerry losing a player that he wanted to keep. Now, there's been some that moved on, DeMarco Murray, DeMarcus Ware, but they kind of almost like nudged them. Can you ever imagine, or you know of one that he lost that he didn't want to lose? Do you remember that at all?
No. And I'll tell you something, we haven't heard from Jerry Jones in so long, and I'm worried that something's wrong with his health. I've asked a couple of media people up there, I said, aren't you guys worried about Jerry? He's been quiet longer than any time in his history. And a lot of people think it's because he's going to be asked about kneeling and racial injustice, because he's always said Cowboy players can't take a knee. But I hope that's all it is. I hope it's not that Jerry's having health issues, but this is the first time it's happened. It's the first time he's gone this long without talking. And to me, that's news in itself.
Yeah, I'm constantly surprised that he hasn't.
You know why I think?
I mean,
two things. Either something's wrong. Again, I don't want to say there could be something going on with his health, and I hope that's not the case. Or because of the fact he's been so stone cold quiet, under some conditions in which people have asked him to speak out or say something, it's almost as if they're trying to find something he can come out with, because this would be pure Jerry marketing 101, something that he comes out with that's amazing that will tell everybody to basically shut up.
Well, the thing everybody's going to want to know, when you've got coaches like Bill O'Brien say they'll take a knee, and Texans owner Cal McNair doing a lot of things, getting behind the African-American players, and people are going to want to know what Jerry thinks and if he'll allow it, because he's always said you can't do it. So people I've talked to up there think that's the reason that he has not spoken. Well, he can speak without answering questions. You know, he could have a statement on Dak Prescott without asking questions and not have to be asked about protesting. So I hope we hear from Jerry soon, and I'll feel a lot better about it, because I like Jerry. I know him a little bit, and I really like him a lot, and I hope everything's going well for him. Maybe he's just kicking back on that 400-foot yacht. I know I would.
Yeah, probably the best thing to be would be get the hell out of here and not let anyone get to you, Craig.
Yeah, John, I was just curious your thoughts on the Redskins, the team formerly known as the Redskins story. It was much hyped, the Washington Post article. It did drop, and just what were your thoughts on what's going on in Washington right now?
It didn't surprise me because of Daniel Snyder, and I was just up there in Baltimore with my wife, and who's a diehard Washington fan, and we saw some people. We were on a boat, and they were from Northern Virginia, and I said, "Are you guys sports fans?" And the women said they are, and I said, "How do you guys feel about the Redskins changing their name?" And both of them said that team is so bad, and we hate Dan Snyder so much we don't care what the name is, and he's lost his fan base. And what's bad about all this? He'll get another name, and they'll have to change, Hale to the Red Tails or something like that. But he's going to end up with a new stadium on the site of RFK Stadium inside the city limits, because the politicians want all the teams there. He's let FedEx Field go down the toilet. It's an awful facility. And And I don't think there's anything he can do. He's not going to sell. He can't be made to sell. And they're a disaster. So I think when they come out with a new nickname because of the sexual harassment story in the Washington Post, people are going to be like ho-hum, because right now the big deal was that he's going to do it. And he's going to do it for the wrong reasons, which ultimately is going to be money that's going to go into his pocket.
So you're telling me, because I've seen all these notes, that there's no preseason games. You think there will still be? Is that for this year only? No preseason games?
Yeah, that's because of COVID-19.
Okay, there will be no. So yeah, that's interesting, because you're right. Those are games that the owners make some cash off of. No question about it. All right,
and they do have to evaluate players. What's unfair? Think about all the undrafted free agents who have made teams like the Cowboys. Think about Drew Pearson, Preston Pearson. I know Cornell Green was undrafted. What if those guys didn't get to play in practice? They didn't get to have practice. They didn't get to hit anybody. They didn't get to put on pads on anybody, and they had no preseason games. You think Tom Landry and Gil Brandt would have kept them? No.
No question.
Yeah, there's going to be some Baylor guys. Unfortunately, a Hasty, for example, signed with San Francisco, undrafted. It's going to have a much harder time now.
They had a bunch.
Well, they're going to be on practice. They've increased the size of practice squads. They should increase it more. So a lot of those guys who are about to get cut, teams have 90 on. Most of them have 90 on their roster right now. Every team's going to have to cut 10. Texans only have 85. There's going to be 320 players on the street in the next week. And I hope a lot of them are re-signed to practice squads, because teams have given them signing bonus money, and they're never going to meet them in person.
John McClain, Hall of Famer, with us. Thanks, John, with the Houston Chronicle.
Congratulations to Scott Drew for cleaning up and thank them, guys.
Oh, just like a big buffet of talent. Big old buffet of talent. All right, now, when we come back, we have to
keep it here.
Okay. So a couple of things. Thanks to Keith Poza, who on Twitter last night, what a fantastic interview, easily my top 5 since you all started a few months back. He was discussing our interview with Daniel Sepulveda, who was very fun.
Yeah, how was
insightful. He was great.
That was my guest kind of pick when you first started asking for some suggestions, and unfortunately, the day you happened to get him, I wasn't here, but I glad to hear that he was a great guest.
You need to go back and listen to it, because he was funny. He wasn't Lachey or Lachey Maston.
No,
hilarious.
But who is? I mean, that guy, he has that, I mean, he had a contagious laugh, and, all
right, so the NFL, this is a story, planning on allowing players to have decals in the back of their helmets bearing names or initials of victims of systematic racism and police violence. Yet it's the NFL who said the Cowboys could not put a patch in the back of their helmet, a decal, over the Dallas Police Department.
Well, things have changed in 2 years, Smokey. I mean, so, again, they've changed. It's kind of, they've always been kind of silly with their uniform rules.
Well, I always thought it was ridiculous that you could wear all the pink that you wanted to, even if you had no dog in the fight when it comes to breast cancer. And I realize you don't have to have a dog in the fight to help raise awareness and things like that. But if a guy who actually had a mother, and I can't forget the exact example.
D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah, D'Angelo Williams, who could not wear the color that was corresponding with the type of cancer that his mother had, or whatever the situation was. They're like, oh, no, no. We can't bring awareness to, let's say pancreatic cancer or ovarian cancer, because breast cancer makes the money for them in that partnership. And I think that when it comes to all that kind of stuff, I think they talk out of one side of their mouth.
Well, and the whole pink thing to me, it's all marketing.
Oh, it's all it is.
And it's not about like, yes, I know that they give some money to breast cancer, but it's more about selling
pink cleats and pink gloves
and jerseys to women and
I'm
things
not
like
saying
that.
they don't care, because they do, but my God, they know what they're getting in return.
But for a long time, though, like the NFL would say, hey, we support women, except when we really have to, and it's going to affect us negatively on the bottom line. Like, let's not.
We love women except for when Ray Rice knocks one out in an elevator, and then we love them when the video comes out and we have to acknowledge it. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They just talk out of both sides of their mouths. I am interested to see, is this a permanent thing or is this just for 1 year? And the NBA is doing something similar, so I guess it's more follow the leader. It doesn't really affect my life in any way, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Brian Etheridge with another This is now becoming more prevalent on my timeline. The Waco Custom Marketplace, the beef and all the things that he buys there, and he shows him trimming a tri-tip. This is more prevalent now than snake videos. Is Brian Etheridge and the amazing product. I was there today. I talked to Brian Brower today. By the way, crawfish is out now, so I got to update that, but that's out. But
it's a month that ends in Y.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
is that what? Crawfish in months that end with Y?
So April, May, and June are the good crawfish months, and I guess at least that's when it changes. So March, April, May, June. Yeah.
I'm actually not a crawfish boil guy. I like crawfish in like a pasta or like a seafood pasta or even like a gumbo or something. But as far as like getting them out of the shell, it's too spicy. I'm such a wuss when it comes to spicy food. So the crawfish boils, it does nothing for me.
I had to adapt over time. But when I was 8 years old, we were living in Bossier City, and Smuggy, you might even remember this because I'm sure you probably had to go over and cover it a few times, but they used to have at the Shreveport Captain's Baseball Park, like a college baseball classic.
Yeah.
Well, A&M was in it one year, and it was the year they were Mark Johnson was the coach, Chuck Knobloch and Mark Langston were on the team, I believe. Maybe not Mark Langston, but Chuck Knobloch was on the team, and they had this Aggie crawfish boil that my dad took me to meet the players, and I took one bite of crawfish, and it was from the spicy container, and we spent half the night trying to find butter to put on my, literally just on my lips and my face.
You wish you had milk or something,
right?
Wait,
we were in a hotel, and they kind of shut everything down, but they found I was in such pain as a little 8-year-old kid that this nice lady from the hotel goes, "Well, I'll go get you a milk, sweetie," and went and got me a big thing of milk.
I just saw Nick Catazales from KCEN tweet this out. This is a UIL, some guidelines on games. So let's go to the media. Press box seating should include social distancing of at least 6 feet between individuals when possible.
Oh, in some press boxes, that'll be impossible.
Should limit access to working media providing coverage of the event to ensure protocols are followed. Post-game interviews should be conducted while wearing face coverings and maintaining at least 6 feet of distance between the interviewer and the individual being interviewed. So Craig's halftime and post-game is going to have to be...
I got to get a good boom.
You got to get a boom, Mike.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to
And there are some press boxes that if you go 6 feet... Now, we're fortunate because Conley's setting us up, and, of course, we don't know, we'll be at La Vega. We won't be at Stephenville, which is going to be one of the bigger press boxes. But in some of those places, you could fit maybe 3 people in there instead of 8 or 9 or 10.
Well, where are they going to play La Vega?
The opening game, we just had them on.
But where?
At La Vega.
At La Vega, okay.
Yeah, that's where it's scheduled to be played.
That's going to be tricky.
But they do have that big upstairs, and Don will take care of us. He will. So there's all sorts of things. Spectators, audiences, fans, and media required to wear face coverings. So you mean to tell me that if I'm broadcasting a game with that handle mic, I need to have a mask on? No. It doesn't sound right.
It's going to sound like this.
Well,
not as bad in my hand, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if that happens. We'll find out. Of course, there's a lot being said. Right
so
now. All right, go ahead.
So their first game is La Vega.
October 2nd.
October the 2nd. So they'll play in Waco. Then they play Robinson at home. They play Salado at home, at Jarrell, and then Gatesville at home.
You got China Spring.
Or China Spring is at China Spring.
Yeah.
So
and that's not the biggest press box on earth. Right?
Couple road trips.
No, and that one might have to be an outside.
That's fine. We can do that before with the bees. All right.
Hornets.
The Gatesville Hornets. Stillwell, which is that 33rd annual Stillwell Pancake Breakfast and silent auction, has unfortunately been canceled due to continuing concerns of COVID-19. Alan Samuels has been very much involved in that, the app sponsor. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Julie Donaldson is now overseeing the Redskins broadcast, highest-ranking official who's female on their in their administration.
Well,
She will not be doing play-by-play. Larry Michael, of course, retired last week amid allegations of sexual harassment, but she will hire the next person.
Well, that's probably, hopefully, that she can oversee the broadcast into sounding good.
10 years at sports at NBC, I think, in Washington.
I think that's a very Mavericks move by them.
But that's a good hire to make, especially since the hire they made to move somebody up was a guy who's essentially been in Snyder's inner circle this whole time, yesterday. So good move on their part. It's going to take Dan Snyder a long time to get this right because he has spent his whole career as the owner not doing anything right.
Michael Jordan, the Jumpman logo will appear on some of the NBA uniforms next season. That's the one, of course, with the split legs, I think, and they got the dunk going up. And also Michael Bennett, very outspoken, 3-time Pro Bowler, ended up with 69.5 career sacks. I always thought of him as pretty entertaining. He has his opinion, so his brother did, Martellus. He retires after 11 years. Won a Super Bowl with Seattle, played with Dallas for a short cup of coffee. And he's retiring from the National Football League. He has many other, I think, things he wants to get involved with. He's made a bunch of money.
Does he go in the Cowboys Ring of Honor? You think he's got to wait for a little while on
Only
on
after Bill Bates.
Like you heard the thing after the game, they played a game where they were just run over and played bad. And we heard a guy yelling in the locker room, and we were all sitting there going, I wonder who that is. And I thought, like, maybe it's Jalen Smith, or maybe it's, one of the guys who's been there for a while, and then you walk in, or DeMarcus Lawrence, somebody like that that's like an actual captain. And no, you find out it's a guy who's been there for 3 weeks. Like, that's when you kind of knew. And again, this is not a knock on Jason Garrett as a person, but that's when you knew that Jason Garrett's coaching had just run completely stale on the team.
Yeah, and the fact that Hellman's like, that was a great thing that it was sad that he had to do, but it was a great thing that he needed to do that. And that then just goes to show you right there of what you're saying. Yeah, the lack of leadership was alarming.
I think that was the point, because I remember the next time they lost a game, that was when Jerry Jones kind of came out and kind of admitted that, we're looking at the head coach.
Now, to wrap up things today, to try to summarize, which is impossible, the UIL released the upcoming guidelines of fall sports. Football, 4A to 1A, we're going to start working out the first Monday in August, start playing games the last weekend in August. 5As and 6As, we're going to do the first week in September, start working out, and then start playing the last weekend in September. And all that kind of setup, everyone was going to be able to play every game they were supposed to play for the most part, if in fact there were no changes, which there will be. But the 5A and 6A season was pushed back a month, but they were still going to get in games, and they could play all the way into early to mid-January, whoever was still playing. And then McLennan County throws a bombshell at La Vega and Connolly and China Spring and Mart and many others who thought they were going to have their season start on time and play their normal games. And now they pushed everyone back, including not just the 5As and 6As, to not be able to start until the first week in September. It's been a mess today. Who knows what happens tomorrow? All right, let's try to rattle them off. Dylan, we had Dave Aranda, Shane Anderson, Jeff Hume, Lee Shea Maston.